Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Of the day, Valokuitunen Esports taking on Tohtorit, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. How are you feeling, B Major?
Doing good, Sid. Great to be back in the booth with you. And I have to agree with you, man. These are two really fun matchups, both of them with big implications, but in different ways. So this is going to be a lot of fun, especially with it being in the home stretch of the season and playoffs inching closer and closer with every single game.
Speaking of playoffs inching closer, we'll take a look here at the standings as it stands right now in the Elite Division. Things are getting quite interesting down the stretch. How about Tohtorit kind of throwing all the narratives off in, by the wayside, essentially, and, having that first place there, same amount of games played as a team like Strikers, yet they're ahead of them by a pair of points right now, ahead of Tunnel Vision, despite Tunnel Vision having those games in hand. They'd have to win both the games in regulation to surpass Tohtorit. I mean, it's an impressive job from them this season.
Yeah, and I think what the best part about it is that you have to remember this is a team that was not even in the Elite Division last season. Last time we saw Tohtorit was in Spring 23. They were 11-15-4 that season, finished 13th, and had to keep their way up. Took that break, came back replacing Mayhems, and now here they are sitting atop the ECL Elite Division 26 games in. And I'm just going to tell you now, if you go back on Twitter and look up Tohtorit, you will see all of the different projections and predictions from people on Twitter. Not many people had Tohtorit even making it into the playoffs, let alone being at that number one seed. So easily the surprise of this division in terms of a positive way. Tohtorit sitting at that number one spot, but they are going to have easily one of the biggest tests that they have had all season here today. If they can find a way to get some points to hold on to that spot, that will show that this team is for real going into the playoffs here in a week's time.
Absolutely. A huge matchup, especially for Valokuitunen, who have those games in hand. So we'll take a look now at those, the team head-to-head here and see just what kind of numbers that both of these guys have been putting up so far throughout the course of this season. And we'll get that on screen for you guys, but you can see it there in the standings as well. Get a little bit of a glimpse of it, but here we can take a more in-depth look, and you can see where some of the strengths of Tohtorit are coming from, but you don't necessarily expect a team with a sub 60% penalty kill to have that first place spot.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising to see them that low because they have been really good defensively in 5-on-5, but obviously when they do take penalties, struggling a little bit when they are a man down. So it's going to be interesting to see them kind of manage that with such a strong and elusive power play on the other side that we've seen for so long over the years. But something that Tohtorit has been very good at that I think you have to give them credit for, and is really glaring to see them play Valokuitunen on the other side, is they have not allowed many goals so far this season. These are two teams that are in the top three in the league in goals allowed per game. So defense and goaltending have been at a premium for both these two sides. So to see it go head to head is going to be a lot of fun here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take a look now at the the lineups here between both of these two teams and see who's in or out for each of them. On the side of Valokuitunen, it is Piku Roger, Benito, and Nicky Dangles up front with, of course, Domi and Teemu on the point. Finsere in between the pipes. And for Tohtorit, it is Oyala, Profilapaki, Harlow, and then Kerkes and Segasormi on the point with Stammer in between the pipes. Great matchups here, and we'll see just what Valokuitunen can do to try to work their way back to where they want to be as the 1 seed. So we'll take a look now at the individual matchups, starting as we do with the center comparisons between Benito and Profilapaki. And, there's the game's play differential, but that's not stopping Benito from having the point lead.
Yeah, and it just feels like it has been that story really every season with Benito for the last 5 or 6 seasons. He's always at least in the top five, typically in points and assists. No surprise to really see him leading in that category. But how about Profilapaki on the other side? A guy that has come into this Tohtorit lineup and has been one of the top goal scorers in the league. 25 goals for him. That's fourth throughout the entire elite division. Last season with Mayhems, he had just 14 goals. So if you want to talk about making an improvement, Profilapaki has been on that top end. But as you mentioned, you're going up against one of the top centers, arguably in the world, in Benito on the other side. So if you want to talk about a test to prove that you have made a jump in your play, Profilapaki, quite a test in Benito on the other side here in these two games.
So now we'll take a look at the winger comparisons for both of these two squads here. And, obviously Piku Roger, the new addition to Valokuitunen this season, coming over from strikers. He has not really wasted time making his presence known. He's 54 points. Nicky Dangles, of course, with 57. And they're really running the offense. And that's kind of a new thing. We usually expect to see Benito at the top of the points, not only for his team, but often for the league. But now it seems like the wingers are getting a bit more action here. But on the flip side, I mean, you can see where Tohtorit's strength are coming from. Everyone's producing on that team.
Yeah, and if you want to know something that's pretty crazy is that when you look at it, 4 of the top 10 point getters in the league are on your screen right now. So you're looking at some of the best producers of offense that we have throughout the entire elite division this season. But what's even crazier is that number 1 and number 2 are both on Valokuitunen and Esports in Piku Roger and Nicky Dangles. We know about Nicky and how great that he has been with this core over the last 3 or 4 years. But Piku, he had to come in with big shoes to fill. Vilopoika not playing this season. Obviously, Piku very well known for his work with Goons and then with Strikers last season. One of the better goal scorers that I think you would find in the league. But he's just seemingly fit in with the style of play with this group so seamlessly. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see these guys work together more and more as the playoffs get closer. Because as we see in the past with this group, they get better as the season goes on. So it's going to be fun to see how he meshes into that.
Absolutely, and we'll have to see how the defense are able to slow things down. That's the next matchup that we're going to take a look at here is, of course, the two defensive pairings and how they stack up side by side. Obviously, Domi and Teemu, I mean, they're tremendous players. They can produce, but also on the other side of that, they might just be one of the best, if not the best, shutdown pairings at the same time. And for Kerkes and Segasormi, you can see Segasormi's production is down just a little bit, but he does bring a lot else to the table. He's a very good puck mover out of the back end, too. May not get the numbers to show for it, but breakouts are usually pretty calm when he's on the ice.
Yeah, and I think that's typically what you really ask for out of your defenders more times than not. I know a lot of people get enamored with the point tallies because you see those assists and like, oh, their defensemen are making plays and they're driving offense. But a big part of driving offense is just putting your forwards in the best position to be able to make plays. And Sega Sormi, a pretty well-known name, maybe not as much in the elite division, but was a staple for Gifu hockey for many years down in the pro division level. He's been really good making the jump up with Tohtorit this season. He's looked right at home. He's been very sound defensively. And once again, he's been steady on those breakouts. And you can say the same thing about Kirkus on his left side, but Domi and Temu on that left side for Valokuitunen. I mean, we've seen it time and time again how good they are, not just being able to shut things down, but also being able to create as well. So I think the defender is going to have a massive impact on which way this sways today. The two men on the right, however, are going to have to elevate their game to a different level if they want to beat this Valokuitunen team.
Absolutely. And talking about different levels here, we'll take a look at the goaltenders for both of these two teams because it may be sometimes some of the most important positions on the ice. When you have a good defensive team, you're going to need that goaltender to make those key saves. And both Finsete and Stammer have been able to do that throughout the course of the season, both with a sub-2 GAA and the save percentages right there in the mid-80s.
Yeah, and I mean, Stammer so far, I think he's a guy that's been a little bit underrated over the years. I mean, you even go back to that spring 23 season where this Tohtorit team was not even a team in the playoffs. He finished with around an 83 save percentage. He's right around that right now, nearing towards an 85. So Stammer, a guy that has proven that he can play at a high level in the elite division in the past, doing it again here so far this season. And while for Finsete, there are a lot of questions when he came in last year. How are they going to be able to replace Faye? Faye still on the roster, but not playing as much as he used to be in the regular season. Finsete last year was at an 80 save percentage. This season, he's nearly at an 87, which is closer to what his playoff numbers were last season. So we have seen Finsete get better and better and better with this group. I've always thought he was one of the more underappreciated goalies in his time with Reality Check. He's come in with an elite team and it's proven that he is an elite level goaltender. It is going to be so fun to watch him work today against another high-end goalie on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. It always is. And, Finsete obviously just continuing to build his pedigree with individual awards. And of course, now from the last season, the team awards as well. So hopefully we're just a few minutes away from puck drop here between Valokuitunen Esports and Tohtorit. So we'll see if we get word on when those teams are going to be able to be matched up. But there's, just tons and tons of opportunity really for Valokuitunen to be able to leapfrog Tohtorit between games in hand and just the sheer amount of points that they're behind. But of course, guys, don't forget about the 1v1 spring signups here for the ECL. Of course, we cover pretty much everything when it comes to NHL here. 1v1, 6v6, obviously, with all the leagues that we have. So all the information can be found on our website, sportsgamer.gg. Don't miss out on any of the action either.
Yeah, and Sid, I think something that you mentioned too is that this being a big opportunity for Valokuitunen to potentially jump up into that first spot. You look at where they are right now. Obviously, they do have games in hand over the three teams in front of them. They would be at the 4 seed. And I got to be honest with you, you look at Dorklov in the Esport, who is currently 5, Exon, who is currently 6, who've been down a little bit in the regular season, but have started to find their way recently. I wouldn't really love being in that 2 or 3 seed or 4 seed having to play one of those two teams. So this is going to be some pretty big matchups here because if either of these two teams drop both games, that is a lot of points lost, especially Tohtorit being on the lower end in terms of games played left, only 4 games, including these two that we're about to see. So these are massive games that we're about to watch that could really sway where these two teams end up finishing here in the standings.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if we have some time before the teams are ready to get matched up, we can throw it back to the standings so we can get a better look at just kind of the implications of not only this matchup, but the remaining matchups throughout the course of this season. As we were just alluding to, Valokuitunen does have, 8 games left. 2 of them will be played right now, but that's a lot of potential points in the bank here. And they're going to want to try to capitalize here against Tohtorit. They're coming in hungry here. They can see the standings. If they somehow, get the sweep on this series, they will be tied in points with Tohtorit. And I believe on the first tiebreaker, they would, I don't know if it's regulation wins or if it goes straight to goal differential, but either way, they'd be close to be able to have that, that first seed. So it's a huge opportunity here. But as you mentioned, seeding might not be as important here as it has been in other years, as the parity continues and these teams just continue to be more and more competitive with each other. And you kind of look up and down throughout the standings here and just how close it is.
Yeah, and I think that the big thing that I'm kind of looking at right now is I kind of scrolled through Tohtorit's schedule. They've already played Tunnel Vision, they've already played Strikers, and interestingly enough, they lost both matchups against those two teams. So when you go and you try to get that number one seed, or you know, you kind of have to beat those teams that are around. And I actually have to correct myself. They went 1-1 versus Tunnel Vision, went 0-2 versus Strikers, but still overall a 1-3 record versus the two teams that are behind you for that first spot. You sure can't afford to go 1-4-1 or even worse, 1-5, because when you do kind of go back and look at things, if you end up missing out on that first or second spot by 2 or 3 points, those are the games that end up costing you. So these are massive games here for Tohtorit, but same for Valokuitunen is that they have been that number 1 or number 2 seed for so long. And as you just mentioned, Sin, the parity now in this division is just so good. There is a massive difference between being the number 1 seed and having to play a team that just squeaked their way in, compared to being the number 3 seed and having to play a team that maybe is not as high up in the standings, but as you see, there's not a big difference between Valokuitunen and Exen, just 4 points in a 2-game difference. So there's a lot of parity in this league. The better seeding you can get, the better your chances are more than likely to get that ideal matchup.
Absolutely. And to kind of touch a little bit more on what you were saying earlier about Tohtorit, about them struggling against some of the other top teams here, yet maintaining that 1 seed. If you want to go on a run, you want to win a championship, you're likely going to have to go through at least one of those teams here. So we'll see what Tohtorit's going to be able to do in this matchup. But here we go. Ready. Never mind. We gonna have to do a reset here. I'm not too sure what the issue was. We'll try to get word on that as soon as possible here. But man, I got really hyped there, Brandon, and then it was all ripped away from us.
Just wanted to see it hyped up a little bit more. It's one of the best matchups we have had all season. They just wanted to build that anticipation a few more minutes at least, just a few.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the plan is. We may kick it to a break if this is going to be any sort of extended delay, but we're hoping it's just going to be a quick re-lobby and a rematch up here. So we'll try to get word on that for you guys as soon as possible. But we thank you, of course, for sticking with us. We thank our sponsors at Kovalon Lakritsi for their continued support for this ECL spring season. And I mean, we've talked about it through. We'll give you guys obviously another look at some of the lineups here, but again, I mean, we could be seeing an emergence of a new potential powerhouse here in the elite division. That's always exciting when we get to see that. But you just look at the quote unquote name value. Oyala, Profilapaki, Harlow, Gerke, Sega, Sormi, Stammer. These are solid players, obviously solid ECL players. They built up a bit of name, but you don't think of them necessarily if you saw them, at least right now, as these are top guys. This is a top team, right? So we really could be seeing the emergence of that, and through their performance, depending especially on how they do in the playoffs, depending how they finish this regular season, they could be, becoming names that are next to just short of names like, Benito, Nicky Dangles. So be very interesting to see how that's going to all work out, Brandon.
Yeah, and I think that that is one of the things that I know we both love so much about this league, and it's what makes the ECL so special, is that you really do kind of see the rises of some of these teams into that top flight, and I think Tohtorit has been a really good example of that. You have to remember, this is a team that has won a championship before, won the Pro Division championship in the Winter 23 season, and 3 of the players that are playing today were on that roster. Harlow, Ohala, and Stammer all were on that team that won that championship. So this is a team that has made a deep playoff run before. They know what it takes to win a championship. Now, granted, that is much different on the Elite Division level, but nevertheless, having that experience, having that championship and that banner in your back pocket is a very valuable thing. So you're looking at a team that not only could be on the rise, but also does have a little bit of championship team in their hands as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe now we are officially ready here between Tohtorit and Valokuitunen to get ready to go their first game of 2 of this regular season head-to-head here. And Tohtorit's going to be on the bottom of your screen in those dark jerseys, and Valokuitunen on the top in their road whites. And just off the face-off, nice poke check by Harlow, trying to get a quick break coming the other way, but now in possession is Valokuitunen. They work their way in. Piku Roger has it now. Looking to the corner. Takes a quick shot to the short side. Nearly kind of gloved to another dangerous area. It's still loose. As Valokuitunen getting to work on the forecheck here. Teemu on the point. DDD one-timer. That one saved by Stammer, and he will cover it up.
I like the start for Valokuitunen and really establishing their game here early. And when you're playing a team like Tohtorit that is hungry, has a lot to prove, wants to get that hot start, to be able to control the play like this early, very, very encouraging for the veteran team.
Trying to keep that one in, but a good job by Oyala to kind of force that one out. But Nikki Dangles brings it right in, tries a drop pass there, miscommunication, and Valokuitunen is going to be forced to reset. Teemu now gains the line once again. Tohtorit having all kinds of trouble slowing down the attack of Valokuitunen. Teemu on the point now. Down low to Nikki Dangles. They begin the low cycle. Great work. Piku Roger now takes it into the corner. This is just insane puck possession time by Valokuitunen. Another shot on. Stammer is there, but this has been a quarter of the period all spent in Tohtorit's zone. We'll have a face-off now once again in the offensive zone. If Valokuitunen are able to keep things alive here, Tohtorit looking to work it out, and they finally do. Kerkas in possession. His pass goes awry. Valokuitunen on the back end. Good job by Doni. Quick breakout here. Nikki Dangles in possession. The back checker hits him from behind, and he will lose possession.
Gotta find a way in the offensive zone. The more that Valokuitunen controls this puck in the offensive zone, the more that Tohtorit is going to get worn down.
They have it once again. Quick play in. I thought that was going to be offside for a second, but Nikki Dangles somehow held the blue line with one of his skates here. Tohtorit slowing things down, and Valokuitunen will drop back to set up their trap. And that does lead to an offside here, so a rough first half of the period for Tohtorit, all the time in their defensive zone and struggling to gain the line themselves.
And it's been that typical way that Valokuitunen has really been able to shut down teams over the years. They have dominated in the neutral zone. They have not allowed Tohtorit to really get anything past the blue line so far.
Benito tries to L-skate to the middle to get that shot away. And he got absolutely crushed here, and Valokuitunen forced to reset. Errant pass right there to create an opportunity. Profilipaki in alone! And a nice poke check by Finsteady to break it up. Not out of danger yet. Valokuitunen navigating some danger here is Domi. They are able to get that out. Piku Roger trying to come back the other way, but a nice little breath of life here from Tohtorit to see if they can build off that sliver of momentum after really kind of getting dominated the first half of the period. But good news is no goals on the board still, so they have survived so far. So they'll have to go back and collect a loose puck in their own end after a failed neutral zone, or a failed zone entry, I should say.
And how big was that save from Finsteady for momentum purposes? How does this game narrative flip if that goal goes in?
Valokuitunen now in the offensive zone once again. Teemu trying to send a shot on. That was blocked. Piku Roger has it once again. Looking for Nikki Dangles. Can't get the shot away. It was a good poke by Kerkas. That one shot goes just wide. And the forecheck doing its job for Valokuitunen. They can't get another chance out of it, but they are just relentless here, forcing Tohtorit back into their zone time and time again. Stretch pass failed right there. You saw him looking for it, but Tohtorit just in all kinds of trouble here. And once again, they turn it over. Nikki Dangles has it. Piku Roger down low into the corner. And he now back up top, and the passing display is looking good for Valokuitunen, but they need to try to find a way to capitalize here. Nikki Dangles gets it shot blocked. Teemu keeps it alive once again. Finally, that puck's intercepted. Harlow gets it out, and Oyala Leeds gets that out of danger, but they get it right back, and another big save by Finsete. As that was a quick little broken play, but coming back now is Valokuitunen, pass across the crease. It skitters through and doesn't find a stick. This game's starting to open up, and there it is. Benito on the side of the net gets that one to go, and Valokuitunen are the team that strike first.
It just kind of felt like that was the way this game was trending since Valokuitunen has dominated the possession. They've dominated the play so far throughout this game, but interestingly enough, it was Tohtorit that had the two best chances. Finsete comes up with two big saves, keeps them off the board, and again, when you continue to apply that pressure, you just assume that you are going to break through sooner rather than later. Valokuitunen does, and they take a 1-0 lead going into the second period now.
What a time to get it as well, with 3.7 left on the clock. That's just gonna feel like a back-breaking goal on the side of Tohtorit. Of course, they are only down by one, but with the way this game has gone so far, I'm actually very curious to see some of the numbers here, because this might be one of the more lopsided time on attack advantages that we've seen so far in this spring season. That was a beautiful, beautiful play by Valokuitunen, and indeed, that is pretty lopsided there, Brandon.
Yeah, it doesn't get more lopsided than that typically after a period. And, you know, it's funny because Tohtorit, despite the one shot before that goal, it kind of felt like they had the two best chances really to score in this game. The breakaway and then the other save a couple of minutes before that goal. So I think you have to give a lot of credit to Finsete. I know he only has one save officially, but he made two big plays to keep this game at bay, and you just kind of figured the way that Valokuitunen continued to push, the way they continued to cause Tohtorit to struggle so much with the puck possession, they were going to break through essentially soon. So now the question is, can Tohtorit figure out something to get some momentum on this game?
And off the opening face-off, Valokuitunen get an in-tight chance off. They're seeming to want to go right back to what's given them success so far. Good poke check there. Harlow trying to get that one in, has Oyala. And he kicks it back to Harlow on the half wall. Harlow shot, and that's a good save right there by Finsete from that high slot area near the hash mark, but he stops it.
You see a little bit of what Tohtorit can do when they do get in the offensive zone. It's just a matter of actually getting there and establishing some of that time. They've been one of the better offensive teams this season.
They do win the face-off here, so we'll see if they can't string together a few more looks. Just like that, defended well, and Valokuitunen are able to get that one out. That one went all the way down, no icing on the play. Segasorami does get it to Harlow up the profile. Abaki tries the backhand. Finsete not fooled and holds that short side down. Yeah, the chances that Tohtorit have gotten, you can say they're very high quality.
Yeah, and we're starting to see Tohtorit finally kind of get some opportunities in the offensive zone. The two chances they had earlier were turnovers that ran into breakaways. Now they're starting to kind of get some chances by establishing puck possession. So we'll see if they can keep that up. Have to build on it here.
Nikki Dangles now in possession. Valokuitunen getting set up in the offensive zone. The passing has been very good, but you see Tohtorit trying to get a little bit more aggressive to take away some of that time and space. As the pass from Pico Roger hit off a skate, nearly found its way to the back of the net. Picked off in the neutral zone. Valokuitunen coming back in once again. Pico Roger, errant saucer pass towards the middle of the ice. And that ends up being a turnover in Tohtorit's possession. But they're not. Yeah, I was just going to say they are not out of the woods with the way this has gone, and they are able to get it out of their zone, but it's right back in. Teemu down low to Nikki Dangles, back in front right there, but Filipaki gets the intercept. Stammer has to cover off of the loose puck, and it's just a siege right now.
Yeah, you know, so that last possession was really interesting because you pointed out something that I think that you're starting to notice. Tohtorit getting more aggressive defensively, but I think it's been more offensively that is the reason that they have been stuck in the zone. They haven't really been able to get out of their own zone. Defense has been fine. It's finding a way to break the puck out to actually control it and get into the offensive end.
Roger trying to send that one to the middle. And they do get a little bit of space to Tohtorit. What a poke check from behind. I'm not too sure which back check that was. There's about 3 on his back. But that's again, Tohtorit keep finding those space. Oh, and that one sails over the net off the one-timer. Piku Roger found himself a soft spot, but a good defensive stick to get into that lane. Yeah, Valokuitunen do have to be a little bit careful, as Tohtorit have found a few different opportunities to get some odd man rushes or partial breakaways. Shot from distance there by Teemu. Scammer makes the save and smothers it once again.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because really the only chances that Tohtorit have had have been off of Valokuitunen turnovers that have turned into breakaways and odd man rushes. So if they can cut that out, really Tohtorit has had nothing for them on the offensive end. But if they continue to play with fire, Tohtorit, they will make them pay for it eventually.
Good pass right there by Domi to Benito, but his shot turned aside by Stammer, who really, all things considered, has had a terrific game. Another hit in the neutral zone leaves 2 of attack. Coming back the other way, they score! Beautiful rush play. Teemu to Benito to Piku Roger. He buries it, and Valokuitunen take a 2-0 lead.
And plays like that are the plays that set this team and set this group apart from so many teams in this division. They were all very close together. It was on the rush. There was not a lot of time and space. Defensively, Tohtorit did not play it poorly by any stretch, but just the quick passing between those 3 forwards to make that play. Piku Roger has been such a sniper throughout the years in this division, able to put that one home. Beautiful play there from Valokuitunen and extends their lead to 2. Have to feel good with the way they played defensively, having that extra time.
Absolutely is a dangerous loose puck right there. Trickles onto Vincere. He'll smartly just cover that one up. 5:55 left in the second. And Tohtorit, you know, while the chances they're getting are good quality, there's just simply not enough of them. They have to figure out a way to get more offensive time, but that's a key face-off win by Benito here to relieve the pressure in the defensive zone. Tegasormi, nice play along the wall. They do pass it back, and that's going to allow Valokuitunen to set themselves up on the blue line. Good work, though, by Tohtorit to get that one in. They're going to try to set things up down low. Pro Filipaki goes to the winger Oyala. Kerkis on the point now. His shot blocked. And Nicky Dangles will skate this one out of pressure. Shot into their own end. Not too sure if he tried to do that or was going for a hit. Nonetheless, it has the result, and the forecheck turns it over once again. Again, looking for a bump right there. I think he ends up shooting it on his own goaltender from distance. Finally, they're able to get this one out. Oyala now. He's bodied along the boards and quickly taken away. Teemu joining the rush once again. Spin past the Nicky Dangles. One-timer! Looked like it was blocked in front. I'm not too sure if that would credit with a save, but nonetheless, it was good work by Stammer to be in position by that. And again, good work by Valokuitunen to turn defense into offense. And here they are once again, swarming. Shot by Benito, gloved down by Stammer. 22.9 left, and the siege continues here. They nearly have full pressure, Brandon.
Yep, and it was that forecheck that created that we saw the last time where Tohtorit was able to get into the offensive zone. When they went back and reset, it was because Valokuitunen didn't establish the forecheck. When they actually established that forecheck, Tohtorit struggling with it.
Mistake right there by the Teemu, and didn't pay for it, fortunately, as they can't connect on the 2-on-1. That's something that you just don't see too often from Teemu. He got a little bit too hypey right there, decided to go for a hit in the neutral zone and completely whiffed, and that led to a 2-on-1. But again, fortunately for Valokuitunen, they do not pay for it, and they will maintain that 2-0 lead heading into the third period.
Yeah, and I think they have to feel really good about where they are here right now in this game, not just because of the score, but so far, Tohtorit, they have had no answers so far for that forecheck. They just haven't really been able to really generate anything, and they haven't even really been able to get anything started. We've seen a lot of times in the where they haven't even been able to break it in past their own blue line, let alone in the offensive zone. And you saw those stats right there. They have plenty reflected the struggle that Valokuitunen have caused for Tohtorit to be able to get into the offensive zone and actually create opportunities.
Yeah, and that's the key here. They just, the opportunities that they've had, we've said it, they've been pretty good. They're just not getting enough of them, and they're spending way too much time defending here in this game, and that's just not going to be a recipe for success. And if I had one criticism of Valokuitunen's game so far, I think they could take a few more shots on net. They have tons of time in attack, just the 10 shots through 2. We'll see, though. They did have a higher rate. They only had 4 through 1, so we'll see what they're going to do here in this third period to close out this first game. Pro Filipaki is able to get that, and a nice breakout here by Tohtorit, but a miscommunication in the neutral zone. They just seem a little bit stumped right now. They're trying creative things, and it's coming back to bite them.
Yeah, and you know, they might kind of be in a situation where they're going to have to switch up here the way that they try to move it up in the offensive zone. You see them trying to go kind of north to south and trying to move the puck up. They might have to kind of work on moving it side to side and slowly but surely creep their way up just to kind of spread out Valokuitunen a little bit to break up the trap, the neutral zone, to more importantly, break up the forecheck in the road zone.
There's a good sequence of poke checks right there by Tohtorit, and eventually they are able to get that out. That will go for icing, however. Not too sure what the plan was right there, but that's going to be an offensive zone draw for Valokuitunen. You see, obviously, Roger got decked in the neutral zone, actually dealing with an injury right there. You saw him using the L1 to get himself out of that animation, so something to keep an eye on here is this game. It comes down the stretch. That time on attack advantage is absolutely massive here. See what happens off of this draw. Tie up. Fighting for Segasormi does eventually come up with it, but here's the forecheck of Valokuitunen, which continues to give Tohtorit fits, and they can't work it out cleanly. Teemu with the puck now after the Nicky Dangles intercept. He stops along the wall, gets it down, and going to work now are Valokuitunen. Nicky Dangles drops back for Domi. He delays. I totally thought Nicky Dangles was going to test the short side right there as Domi's one-timer knocked aside. PQ Roger gets bumped down. Harlow gets it up but can't quite connect. And taken away by Teemu in the slot. And now coming back the other way, PQ Roger with some space. Looking for the backhand, but well defended by Segasormi right there. Nicky Dangles now to PQ Roger. Once again, Valokuitunen just eating up all kinds of time. We're nearly to the midway point of this third period. And Tohtorit need 2 just to tie it. They go offside once again. Off of a fast break, and that was the time to attack, and they just can't gain the line cleanly again.
I think that the biggest thing that Valokuitunen have done is that you can tell that Tohtorit, they are not in sync whatsoever. They just feel really off overall in terms of just the way that they're moving it in the offensive zone, the way they're trying to move it up in the neutral zone. They just don't really feel like they're together right now. You can tell their game is a little bit off, and it's not because of this Tohtorit side. We've seen them all season be able to make plays. Valokuitunen have made them uncomfortable, and Tohtorit not being able to find a response to that has made them kind of feel a little bit uneasy, and you're seeing that right now in their play.
Absolutely, and this is essentially the litmus test for Tohtorit. You know, we kind of mentioned it, alluded to it. They've struggled against other top teams, and well, here in this first game, I mean, hard to put it any other way. Valokuitunen so far has taken their lunch money. And they've got to feel like they are lucky that they're only down by 2. PQ Roger takes away that slap pass. And once again, the forecheck causes the turnover. And shot and scored! Another goal off the back of the strong forecheck. This time, Nicky Dangles, the gold helmet wearer, the top scorer for Valokuitunen, gets a big one that just might be the dagger here in the third period.
And once again, Sin, it comes off of that strong forecheck for Valokuitunen, forcing the turnover of Tohtorit, not able to get out of their own zone. They make a play on it. Nicky Dangles is able to put it in, and you know, you mentioned something I think is very true. Valokuitunen could easily be up by more than 3. They've not really shot the puck as much as they could.
Right there, I mean, it looked almost like a broken play, but it ended up being a one-on-one situation for Nicky Dangles against Stammer, who had to make a big save right there. Another aggressive play by Teemu doesn't exactly work out. So we do apologize. We're having a bit of a slowdown, possible freeze on our end right now. We're going to try to get that cleaned up as soon as we can. And we are back, and Tohtorit failed to capitalize, but now they do. Oh, and it's being waved off. We'll have to see if it's contact with the goaltender or, oh yeah, that should come back. That's a significant amount of contact there in the crease.
Yeah, we might not know what goaltender interference is in the real-life NHL right now, but we know what it is here in the ECL. Not going to be able to count that goal there. Unfortunate for Tohtorit, but definitely the right call.
Absolutely there. So more offensive opportunity going by the wayside, and It's just kind of been the story so far for Tohtorit. They haven't gotten enough of it. Chances they've gotten, they haven't capitalized on. I mean, once again, here's Valokuitunen going to work. Benito in the corner, sending it down low. Back up top. That's a beautiful little cycle to find the one-timer. And they still get possession. Teemu now. Over to Benito, looking. Finds Biku Roger. He goes back up top to Domi. It's clinical from Valokuitunen. Oh, that's a clutch stick lift right there. We do hope the folder is not on your guys' screen. And Harlow takes a shot on, and Vincente makes the save. I do apologize, my view was obstructed for just a couple seconds right there. But again, that's another quick kind of counterattack from Tohtorit that they don't capitalize on.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story. You said it perfectly just a couple of minutes ago. They've not had many opportunities, and the ones they have had, they've not been able to find their way in the net. So for Tohtorit, you know, you can deal with having not a lot of chances if you take advantage of the few you get. They've not been able to do that either. Big reason they find themselves where they are right now.
Another forced turnover. Biku Roger actually tried to get a pass. It nearly banked off of Stammer and went in the back of the net, but 1:14 remaining here in the third, and this should be a huge Valokuitunen double.
Yeah, and a well-deserved one at that with the way they've played. They really dominated the play from puck drop. We saw it at the beginning where they controlled a lot of the offensive zone time. Tohtorit could not get out of their own zone. That forecheck gave them a world of troubles, and Tohtorit really just has not found any answers to it. We'll see what they can adjust for game 2 if they have a chance to talk about it for a few minutes. But Valokuitunen, just the way they dominated the play and asserted their game on Tohtorit really has been all the difference in this game.
Lapaki now to Harlow. He gets a quick shot on, but Vincente, as he's been all game long, remains perfect so far. 20 seconds remaining here. See if Tohtorit are able to at least get one, a building block for next game. Nice play off the face-off there, but once again, Vincente keeps it out. Garkas able to keep that in. His shot gets blocked. Segasormi along the point, trying to work that one towards the middle. Domi has it loose in front, skitters towards Vincente, and he has to cover that one up. 4.3 seconds remaining, and you can see Tohtorit just throwing everything at the wall trying to get one.
It's arguably the best couple of minutes we've seen from them all day so far offensively. They've gotten a lot of chances, and they've tested Vincente arguably more than they have in a sustained situation all night long.
Unfortunately, the face-off won by Benito and Valokuitunen, able to kill off the remainder of the time to secure a 3-0 victory. Vincente locks in his 8th shutout of the regular season. And that is a huge statement from this Valokuitunen team, who's saying, yeah, you got first seed right now, but we just absolutely dominated you for 60 minutes.
Yeah, and that is the exact statement that a team like Valokuitunen that has been at the top of the mountain for so long, has won 4 championships as a group. That is the type of statement that you want to make against a team that is up and coming, rising in the ranks in the Elite Division, trying to prove that they are on that same level that you have been on for so long. But you come in game 1 and dominate not just the scoreboard, but dominate play the way you did, period to period, minute to minute, really second to second, the way Valokuitunen did. That is such a statement saying, hey now, we know you're the new kids on the block, but we've been around here for a minute. We are the champions for a reason. We got to come out and show why we are at that level, and we have to kind of come out and show really what it takes to be at that standard. Tohtorit hasn't been able to find answers for this Valokuitunen team so far. They were dominated really period to period. It's going to be really interesting to see what the response is from them, and if they can find some of those answers going into this next game.
Yeah, and that's going to be tough because, you know, I feel like Valokuitunen played extremely good. There were a couple of moments, though, when I was questioning some of the pinches by, you know, some of the defensemen there. I think it created too many issues for them, and not something that we usually expect to see from Valokuitunen. If they got, you know, 2 defensemen back, those 2 defensemen are going to try to hold that line by themselves, and we saw some interesting things. So I'm not too sure if that's just an insane amount of confidence, them trying to continue to, you know, put the clamps on the Tohtorit. But I think in this game, too, if Tohtorit are able to kind of, you know, get a bit more offense, those plays are something that you're not going to want to make, you know, in a tie game. So We'll have to see if they continue to do that, Valokuitunen, and if Tohtorit can start capitalizing on that. The second game could definitely go the complete opposite direction. So there's some openings for Tohtorit, but they have to find a way to limit just some of the pressure that they got under. They have to clean out their breakouts because that forecheck of Valokuitunen just gave them tons of fits.
Yeah, and I think you kind of look at the shots there. 14-11 Valokuitunen, only a 3-shot difference despite having almost 10 more minutes of time of attack. I think you saw a little bit of passiveness as well on the offensive end for Valokuitunen. They had a lot of chances to put shots on, but opt not to try to make that extra pass. And Tohtorit, when they would cause some of those turnovers, there were chances to where Valokuitunen could have put that shot on instead to try to get that opportunity. When you put that puck on net, you never know how you'll be rewarded, what type of bounce is going to take. I think Valokuitunen, they could take some of that aggressiveness that they have on the defensive end and apply that a little bit to the offensive end. Put some more shots on net. You never know, you might get a couple of more in, and you could be looking at, instead of a 3-0 victory, be 5 or 6-0 victory. So we'll see how they adjust, because not a perfect game from them, but a game that definitely is going to get the job done based on what they did there in that first game.
Absolutely. So we'll be able to set the stage for a game at number 2 after a brief break and a word from our sponsors.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi. Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Valokuitunen had a few little slips here and there that they could potentially take advantage of. I mean, we saw early, really throughout that first period and second period, especially, that some of the turnovers that Valokuitunen had led to Tohtorit chances on breakaways and odd man rushes. It's just they weren't able to particularly take advantage of them. Give credit to Vincere for making those saves. The back checking of Valokuitunen causing turnovers to not allow those shots to go on cleanly, but nevertheless, this is a team in Tohtorit that's going to have to figure out how they can take advantage of some of those slip-ups, as well as what they can change within their own game. It's okay to take that one loss, but these are the moments that really kind of show you which teams are going to be contenders. How do you adjust? How do you build on the failure that was that first game to find your way to get a little bit closer to where Valokuitunen was, to get yourself back into it here in the second game? As we kind of reach into these playoffs, this is a Tohtorit team that has not been there before. If you want to be at that level, you have to be able to adjust and to execute adjustments. This is going to be a massive test here in this game too, to see their ability to do that against one of the top teams in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And we already talked about it earlier. It's a test every time you play one of these top teams. And so far, Tohtorit combined 1-4 record against some of these top teams. And, that's where someone could look and say, well, maybe they shouldn't be at the top of the standings. And come the end of the season, they very well may not be. Of course, we mentioned it. Valokuitunen, who had games in hand, if they won both games here in regulation, they would be officially tied in points with Tohtorit. And after that first game, I'm sure a lot of people would be arguing it, or at least saying it's hard to argue against them being able to get this 2-game sweep. But we'll see what happens here as these two teams will try to get matched up. We'll throw it over to the standings really quick if they have indeed updated from our website, and it looks like they have. You see Valokuitunen already leapfrogging Tunnel Vision on their way up the standings, and just now 1 point behind Strikers, still with 3 games in hand. 4 games in hand on Tohtorit, and just 3 points behind him. Again, that's a regulation win in this 3-point system.
Yeah, and I think that as much as Tohtorit doesn't like to see that, I don't think there's teams that like to see that less, arguably, than Tunnel Vision and Strikers, because they definitely can pass both of them no matter what happens here, as long as they get some points, whether it's an overtime win or a regulation win. Valokuitunen will go past and jump both of them, so that would bump Tunnel Vision down to the 4 spot with the same amount of games in hand, and Strikers would be jumped down to the 3 spot, already having played more games than Valokuitunen. So it's one of those things to where this is a big opportunity here for Valokuitunen, not just to jump their way into that first spot, but to put themselves in a really good position to realistically probably cement themselves into that either first or second spot, considering where Tunnel Vision is and where Strikers are in terms of the games that they have played, and really just the form that they have all been in lately. Because Valokuitunen, they have probably been the most consistent team all season long in the ECL. It's going to be an uphill climb for really anyone so far to catch them if they are to get 3 more points here in this next game.
Yeah, I mean, they're tied for the fewest amount of regulation losses with Tunnel Vision, so hard to argue with that, of them not being one of the most consistent teams. And you kind of expect that from a defending champion, of course, from Valokuitunen. So we'll see just what happens in the second game, as we're waiting to get word when these two teams will be able to be matched up, because, well, we are definitely ready to see how Tohtorit is going to respond. And, you said it, Brandon, it's important how you adjust. If you want to be a good team, one of the good playoff teams, especially, eventually be a champion team, you have to be able to make those adjustments. And, you know, that's going to be a big test here for Tohtorit, because that was just simply not a good game from them against another top team. And, you know, you have to at least find a way to make things competitive here. Of course, don't forget, guys, out there, the ECL 24 Spring 1v1 signups are available for the ECL. Check out sportsgamer.gg for all the information on that, as we continue our 6v6 season here, of course, throughout all the divisions that we do have. And you can just check out the website to be able to keep up with all those other divisions. And it's a great way to stay, you know, to look at some of these lower divisions and see some of the future teams who could be working their way into the elite.
Yeah, and you know, you're kind of seeing one of those teams that did that in Tohtorit. They worked their way into the elite division a little bit over a year ago, won the Pro Division Championship in the Winter 23 season, found their way in the elite division, didn't go so well, finished 13th, took a break last season, came back this season, and now sit atop the ECL elite standings. But again, you have to be able to adjust if you want to be at this level. If you want to compete with the Valokuitunens, with the Tunnel Visions, with the Strikers, even teams like Exen, for example, who used to be Yavaskla, have been within that top 4 for so long. You have to be able to adjust. You can excuse one-off performance. Every team is going to have that, but you have to be able to find those ways to improve your game and elevate to that next level. Can Tohtorit do that against the elite teams in the elite division? That is the question I want to see answered.
Yeah, and it's, you know, going to be a tall task. Valokuitunen, you know, they're going to be sensing weakness, and we saw that kind of with some of their play in the first one. Some of the decision-making of that, you know, that came from maybe sensing weakness, I didn't quite like some of the pinches in the neutral zone, which led to odd man rushes. That's something that Tohtorit have to be licking their lips about, you know. Okay, if they're going to be overconfident, we can make them pay, but I did like, you know, that the aggressive forecheck from Valokuitunen of just continuing to just kind of pound their throat and just absolutely take control of the game. Quick start there, though, for Tohtorit. We got a nice little chance right off the opening face-off. Roger now taking that one in. Domi on the point. Teemu. Dangle sent down low. Benito kicks it back up top, and here comes that cycle from Valokuitunen. Sent in, but Segasormi picks that off, so good zone time, but no shot on, I don't think, for Valokuitunen. That one sent to the middle, intercepted by Benito, and here he comes. All kinds of time and all kinds of space. Drops that one back to Teemu. Teemu trying to throw that one towards the slot. It stays out. Benito now down low. Gets it over to Piku Roger. Piku Roger testing the short side. Nearly maybe found a gap. You saw Stammer reaching behind him, but eventually finds it and smothers.
Boy, how about this start? Just 4.5 minutes in, the quick chance from Tohtorit, and then Valokuitunen with a couple of chances. You feel like Tohtorit, though, a little bit more spring in their step here compared to what we saw. The question is this right here, can they break it out of their own zone? This was where they really struggled in game number 1.
Doing a good job of it right there, but Tofilapaki can't get it across the blue line cleanly, and once again, it's in the hands of Valokuitunen. Nicky Dangles takes it across the blue line. Piku Roger has it into the corner. Gets that one taken away, but that was sent all the way down, and that will be icing, so another offensive zone draw for Valokuitunen.
Not ideal, but could be worse. You get the puck out of their stick, you get a chance here to win the defensive zone face-off. Obviously, you'd love to just have possession. You hate to take that icing, but very, there's worse situations to go into if you're taking it.
Piku Roger shot on, blockered aside, had to trickle kind of over the net right there. That was dangerous, and the forecheck once again coming into effect. Benito trying to get a puck pickup. He knocks him down again, just relentless pressure, and once again they poke it free. Poked it free again. Nicky Dangle's trying to get that one in. He gets bodied across the boards. So we'll try to get this lag cleaned up as soon as possible and get back to the gameplay. Again, we will apologize for it. Any technical issues coming up from lag here on our end. We are working to get that cleaned up for you guys as soon as possible. And we do have it back. No goal was scored in the ensuing things. Tohtorit looking to get an offensive chance on, but that one's taken away. Piku Roger in possession now. He drops it back. That's a nice shot on by Benito, testing for the short side, but it was taken away. Arlo in possession now. He gets bumped, and once again, Tohtorit not able to establish themselves in the offensive end. Roger sends it over to Domi. He creeps in along the half wall, sending it down low. Piku Roger had some space on the wrap. I'm not too sure if he was going to go for it. It was poked aside by Kerkis. Tohtorit looking to work it out of their own end again. As we have unfortunately run into yet another lag and stop in our feed. We are back now. Tohtorit once again failing to gain the line. As the bright side is we haven't missed any goals due to some of these freezes and stutters. As once again Valokuitunen get it into the zone. Kerkis in possession, the forecheck coming. Look how they spread out and try to take away all the passing lanes. It's just a thing of beauty the way this Valokuitunen team works together. That one sent up 2-on-1 now. Harlow, pass over, they score! Oyala tucking in that one-timer. Tohtorit, the team who strikes first. And that is a huge goal that they needed.
Oh, that is massive, Sin, not just for the score, but just for the momentum and for the morale for this Tohtorit team. They were able to weather the storm of Valokuitunen. After, in the first game, we saw it was 0-0 for a long time, but they were only able to sustain that pressure for so long until Valokuitunen finally found their way to a goal. This game has been a little bit more even. Tohtorit has played much more toe-to-toe with Valokuitunen. They get the first goal, and it kind of takes out some of that pressure. The question now is, can they build on it? 1-0 is not going to be enough.
Definitely looking like they're playing a bit more on their toes here as they have it in the offensive zone, get a cycle going of their own. Not something that we've seen a whole lot of from that team so far. They do have it taken away, but they do a good job of turning that one over in the neutral zone. On a forecheck of their own, Tamu walks it out of trouble. Domi has it now, crosses the blue line. He gets drilled, and here comes a counterattack. Oyala, nice little stop and go there. Gets it over to his centerman. Shot on right there by Profilipaki Finsere. Forced to make a save in tight.
Boy, if Profilipaki could have somehow glided his way a little bit more to the left side, there was a lot of open space there that Finsere left open. But how about Tohtorit? They have found some answers here, Sin. They're finding their way to the offensive zone a lot easier, breaking that strong forecheck that Valokuitunen had established there in that first game.
And there is an icing here, though. 4.6 seconds remaining. That will provide an opportunity for Valokuitunen to be able to try to get something here off this face-off. We won't have much time, but I'm sure they have some set plays in their arsenal. Benito does win it. Nice little give and go right there, and it trickles into the back of the net. Not how they drew it up, but it does find the back of the net. It was a soft shot because of the deflection, but Piku Roger has scored.
Oh, and that is just crushing if you're Tohtorit. You get that first goal, the momentum seems to be on your side. You're feeling good potentially going into the second period, and then that is the goal that goes in on you, kind of skies up in the air and just dribbles its way in past Stammer. Nothing you can really do about that there as a goaltender. And for Valokuitunen, it may have not been pretty, but they find their way to the tying mark, and they have that little extra surge of momentum going into the second period, despite a heck of a punch there from Tohtorit to start this game.
Yeah, I'm really curious to get another look at how exactly that went off. I'm not too sure if it hit the goaltender, bounced up and over and into the net, if it somehow hit something. The brief glimpse of the replay I saw looked like he got a clean shot off. So hopefully we'll be able to get another look, but nonetheless, that is a heartbreaker for Tohtorit, and very, very similar to what happened in the last game. You know, the first goal for Valokuitunen, I believe, came with 3.7 seconds left in the first period, and this time they get a tying marker with even less time. Okay, so it's the stick from that other defender there. That's rough for Stammer, because he's then caught and he's down on his backside there. No chance to be able to stop that, so bit of rough puck luck, but at the same time, that's what happens. You know, that's the danger when you ice the puck, and they ice the puck, and Valokuitunen were able to get, you know, a set play off of that draw. So second period now underway. Tohtorit in possession. We'd like to thank our friends at Koval and Lockhartzy for continued support. focus now. For Tohtorit, they were offside anyway, but they didn't connect on the pass. Roger is able to get that one in. Benito sends it around. Nicky dangles. I thought he was going to go with a speed wrap right there. He actually tried to cut out and get a short side look on. That's a trip here. We're going to be seeing, I believe, the first power play for either team in this series so far.
Yeah, neither team had taken a penalty so far in this series, and it looks like it's going to be Valokuitunen getting that first power play. And keep in mind, they're 25% on the power play against a Tohtorit team that has the worst penalty kill in the league, 58.62%. So this is huge here. Valokuitunen going up against a weak penalty kill to try to take the lead here and go up the lead.
We're going to be starting with this face-off when they do get the win. Domi starts to get to work with his defensive partner. Good cycle so far, looking to find a way to penetrate the middle. Shot on right there. Stammer turns it aside and will smother it. Give his centerman another chance to win a face-off.
Something else I'm interested to see, Sid, is we've seen Tohtorit struggle to get it out of their own zone in 5-on-5. Does it worsen here in 5-on-4? That's especially critical, so something else here to keep in mind.
Roger sending it back up top. Good work so far. Good cycle game. They just can't find a way to get to the middle, so they go with the rebound play. Beautiful work there. The shot on by Roger, and Benito cleans it up.
Just textbook there from Roger. That is something that makes him so good. He's so dangerous with the puck on his stick. Notice that he didn't have really that passing lane to any of his teammates on that opposite left side, so he puts the puck on net. Like we said earlier, you put it on net, you never know what can happen when you have guys around the net, potential to get that rebound. It's exactly what they do there. Tohtorit, a team that's weak on the PK, takes a penalty, goes up against Valokuitunen, who has been strong on the power play this year. They make him pay for it, and they take the lead from it as well.
Roger tried to get a quick chance on, sent that one over. Stammer sprawled out on the ice, had to get the smother on it. And this is where it just feels like it's snowballing a bit out of control for Tohtorit here. You know, they take a bad penalty and they go down after getting the first goal in this game. They gotta find a way to try to get this one back to square again. And that will be offside right there, as it was a broken play in the neutral zone.
In times like this is when historically Valokuitunen, who used to be H-Reds for those that just joined us, this is when this team typically tends to smell blood in the water. Tohtorit have got to find a way to switch the momentum, even if that's not with a goal immediately. Finding some offensive zone time, getting some dangerous chances. They cannot let Valokuitunen feel that the game is slipping away from them.
Absolutely, here they are just one of those teams that can absolutely smother you. Let's see what they're able to do here. They're in possession once again. Domi does get crunched heading over the blue line, and kind of a miscommunication right there. Maybe Oyala thought he could bring it over the line with that, you know, the hustle animation at the same time Harlow crossed, but that's a 2-on-2 opportunity. That's space. That's just an unfortunate break for Tohtorit. We are in possession once again. Kerkes taking his time with it. Dump and chase, something that we haven't seen a lot of, and it works out. Harlow down low, pro Filipaki. I don't think he was going for it, but almost looked for a second as he was starting a Michigan animation. I think my eyes deceived me there, but that would have been something to definitely keep an eye on. That's a nice play right there by Oyala. He gets bumped from behind, and once again, Valokuitunen right back in on the attack. Benito in possession now, kicks it back up top to Teemu. Both defenders taking their touches of the puck. Teemu now jumps up into the play, but there's the danger. He does get it bumped off him. And here comes Tohtorit back the other way. Harlow will slow up and one-touch deke his way out of the zone. I don't think that was the plan right there. But again, that's just another self-inflicted wound, Brandon.
Yeah, those are the kind of things you can't do against this Valokuitunen team, because you have to have those opportunities taken advantage of when you do break into the offensive zone. Get that shot on net, try to cycle it. Doing a little bit too much there on the blue might end up making a mistake.
And speaking of mistakes, an own goal there that Roger will get credit for. I am at a bit of a loss right there. That's Kerkes, a bit too close to his goaltender, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, that hurts.
And Sin, you know, you hate to go and just point out mistakes, but it is our job to point out things that we see that have an impact. That mistake from Harlow on the blue line, the deke at the blue line causing the offsides and then the turnover. That's what led to that play. Mistakes from Tohtorit that you cannot make, costing them here right now in the second period.
Absolutely, as Teemu does get bumped out of the zone, but his defensive partner back to collect that puck, dodges 2 forecheckers, makes it look easy. As I send that one to Piku Roger, careful now as another bouncing puck gives Stammer a little bit of trouble, and it's just gotta, you know, feel like the wheels are falling off here if you're Tohtorit.
Yeah, and you're maybe seeing that a little bit too in the way they're playing. They just kind of feel like they're a little bit unraveled right now, especially after that first goal. They just haven't really been right ever since Valokuitunen tied this game up off of that bounce.
Here they come in response. Filipaki trying to send that one towards the middle. Harlow, and he working behind the net, but Domi takes the puck away. Beautiful work by him. Piku Roger now coming back on the counterattack. Does take the bump, but maintains possession. Spin pass towards the middle. Nicky Dangles had it for a second, couldn't get the shot away. Domi now to Nicky Dangles in the middle. He has that one knocked aside, but Harlow turns it over. He's coming back the other way. Drop pass now to Oijala. Oijala can't get a shot or a pass away. Incredible recovery defense on the side of Valokuitunen.
Great job from Teemu. That's what we talked about. Him and Domi, two of the best shutdown defenders in the league. You saw that right there.
They're able to stop them once again. Teemu now joining the rush back the other way, creating an on-man situation. One-timer by Piku Roger, blockered aside by Stammer. They are not done yet, still in possession. Harlow is able to get that turnover, but he has it poked away immediately off the forecheck. Seconds remaining here, wraparound chance, loose in front, trickles wide. And that will do it for the second period as Valokuitunen just respond in a massive way and have a 3-1 lead over Tohtorit.
You want to talk about the traits of teams that are contenders, the ability to adjust we've talked about, the ability to respond is the other one. And we've seen Valokuitunen do that here in this second game, starting down 1-0. Had a little bit of luck on their side there to get that tying goal at the end of the first period, but the last 2 goals, purely mistakes from Tohtorit. The penalty that they took that allowed Valokuitunen to get on the power play, they took advantage of that immediately with the goal on that rebound shot from Piku Roger, as you're seeing on the replay. And then the second one, the turnover from Harlow when they were in the offensive zone, and led to Valokuitunen getting that chance on the other end, and then eventually ended up snowballing its way into an own goal. So Valokuitunen, if they got some bounces, yes. If the scoreline may be flattering them a little bit, I would honestly say so. I don't think they're playing their best game, but Tohtorit, they're shooting themselves in the foot with some of the mistakes they've made. This could easily be a 1-1 game, but Tohtorit's mistakes are the reason that Valokuitunen are up 3-1 now.
Valokuitunen getting back to work here as this third period gets underway. Immediately getting that dump and chase and cycle working. We do have a delayed penalty, however. So Tohtorit will be getting their first power play of the game. And if I'm wrong, but I think they have the top power play and the worst penalty kill, but you don't have to see. But I think they're at 38% as Nicky Dangles will sit for 2.
Yeah, you would be correct on that, Sin. They're one of the top power plays in the league at 35% so far this season. So this is a team that's been able to take advantage of it. But on the other side, Valokuitunen, one of the top penalty kills at 87. So it's not going to be an easy task, but you have to take advantage here for Tohtorit.
Absolutely, you have to be able to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes, as Valokuitunen has done on their end. The shot from distance, looking for the deflection. And now Valokuitunen counterattacking the other way. You think they're confident? What a play right there. Nearly getting a shorthanded goal off of that one-time opportunity. Sent into the corner, and now Valokuitunen will wisely back off. They did use quite a lot of stamina right there, but they did kill a heck of a lot of time. Roger Domi gets bumped from behind. And Tohtorit are able to keep things alive here in the offensive zone. Oijala over to Harlow. They play catch with it. Oijala dodges one. Harlow gets it in, trying to feed the middle there. Way too many defenders. Easy intercept and clearance by Valokuitunen. They were able to get most of their stamina back, as well as their 5th guy back on the ice.
Not a single shot on net during that power play there, Sid. Not what you want if you're Tohtorit trying to find a way back into this game, having not had an opportunity.
Chase once again this time. Valokuitunen wise to it. And a beautiful saucer pass off the wall. Maybe a 2-on-1 if they hurry. Piku Roger over to Nikki Dangles. Has to delay to corral that puck, which allowed Stammer to get back over, but set all the way out. That will be icing. 14-10 left in the third here, and Valokuitunen continuing to just put the clamps on Tohtorit.
We talked about it earlier, Sid, and Valokuitunen, they're one of those teams that when they smell blood in the water, they tend to pounce. It just feels like you're seeing that right now. They are swarming all over the ice, and Tohtorit just haven't been able to really find that punch to get their way back into this game.
We're now in possession. He drops it back. That's a beautiful trailer play hitting Domi, but that one was turned aside. Nikki Dangles with a shot on from in tight. And the siege continuing here, but a nice counterattack. Too many passes, and they don't get a shot out of that attack. That's a 3-on-1, and you fail to get a shot. That just can't happen, Brandon.
Yeah, and it's been the story of this series for Tohtorit. Missed opportunities, mistakes that have been really self-inflicted. Valokuitunen didn't really do a lot to cause that, but 3-on-1, you have to get a shot on that there, especially down by 2.
Who has it once more as Valokuitunen try to get themselves into the offensive zone and established. And once again, we do apologize for any freezes that you're seeing on your end as well. Another poke check right there off the forecheck. Benito keeping things alive, and it finds its way into the back of the net. Saucer pass in front off of the fender. And that one should be the dagger here as Tohtorit just completely coming unraveled here in the third.
Yeah, and you know, I know at the surface you'll say, oh, that's a bad bounce there for Tohtorit. They can't catch a break. And even though that is true, what caused that place in the forecheck of Valokuitunen, causing a turtle from Tohtorit, not able to get out of their own zone. If they're able to get out of their own zone and break that forecheck, that play doesn't happen.
Absolutely, as Nikki Dangles with another inside opportunity. Valokuitunen just really looking to assert their dominance here. It's almost like they took it personally that Tohtorit is ahead of them in the standings here, and they're just doing everything they can to show everyone here on broadcast that they're the ones who deserve to be there. And, well, in 8:27, if the scoreline remains in their favor, they will be tied with this team with games in hand to try to work their way in front by the end of the season.
And if there's any team in this league that just in our experience with them would take that personally, it is them.
Absolutely, is Benito with a nice opportunity on net and nearly having full pressure. They get one more turnover here. They will have it. That's a smart play by Kerkis to try to work that one out. He then gets drilled for his troubles, and yeah, a little bit of extracurriculars too after the whistle here. I mean, Valokuitunen just trying to add insult to injury.
Yeah, and you know, we came in talking about it. Tohtorit, the surprise of the Elite Division so far this season, holding that #1 spot. Valokuitunen, the defending champions. Tohtorit, the new kids on the block, so to speak. I think as much as Tohtorit had a point to prove, I think we're seeing the Valokuitunen did too. They are here for a reason. I think they kind of want to show Tohtorit, like, hey, if you want to be on our level, you're going to have to show us. And so far, Tohtorit, being honest, they've not really been able to do that here in these 2 games.
Full pressure activated for, I believe, the first time in this 2-game set. A whistle there to try to slow things down for Tohtorit so they can maybe win a face-off and navigate their way out of the zone. But it's actually kind of surprising that Valokuitunen hasn't gotten full pressure yet with the sheer amount of zone time that they've had. And we may be seeing a timeout. I think the glitch has indeed been fixed when the timeout won't create the endless loop of players performing as if they have the full pressure on them. So another look at that own goal right there. Again, unfortunate, but as B Major mentioned, you know, it comes directly off of a turnover and from the pressure of Valokuitunen. So while the goal itself may be unlucky, the play that led up to it, definitely not.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that every cause has an effect, and something starts something else, and that's just one of those situations where the turnover from Tohtorit, the forecheck of Valokuitunen, that is what caused that play to happen. If Tohtorit's able to get out of their own zone and break that forecheck, that play never happens. It's still a 3-1 game, maybe even 3-2.
Arlo with a pass towards the middle there, and looking for a last-ditch effort for Tohtorit to get back into this game. What a chop over It was right there to go to Benito, but here comes a 2-on-1 back the other way. Shot on and a good save by Finsere. Counter-attack coming now for Valokuitunen. Pass to the middle to no one besides Profilapaki. Kerkis now coming back the other way. Profilapaki now to Harlow. Between the legs, Deke, but he went right into traction. Shot on, Finsere has an easy time of it.
You know, I don't think we've really talked about him a lot just because of how dominant the play in front of him has been, but how about Finsere so far in these two games? Whatever his name has been called to make a big save, when Tohtorit has had a good opportunity, he has typically been there to make that big save. So as great as the five guys in front of him have played, got to give that goaltender between the pipes for Valokuitunen a lot of credit for the saves that he's been able to step up and make.
Absolutely, and that was a good play right there to avoid a huge odd man rush, but they still are able to get one to Valokuitunen. Mickey Dangles looked to just throw that one into the short side, and it's being kept alive here. Relentless pressure from Valokuitunen. Doesn't matter what kind of lead they have, this team never takes their foot off the gas. Stretch pass right there, intercepted by Domi, trying to time it up with his guys getting back on side, but he's unable to do so, and oh yeah, we're seeing a lot of stuff. Yeah, very trippy.
We've seen it over the last couple of minutes too. I don't think Tohtorit's really happy with how this game has gone, not just because of their own play, but just some of the bounces and what this game meant to them. I think you're kind of seeing it while Valokuitunen is just probably being a little bit cheeky in their own respect, so not too surprised to see that really, but still interesting.
Absolutely not. These are fierce competitors here, especially on the side of Valokuitunen. And you can see right there, just trying their darndest to get one more goal. Call it insult to injury, call it whatever you will, but it is that tenaciousness that has led this team to the amount of championships that they've had in the Elite Division. And they get two huge wins over the one seed of Tohtorit and are now tied with them for points. So we're going to see a heck of a lot of standings shift after this two-game series, Brandon.
Oh yeah, and considering that Tohtorit only 2 more games left in the regular season, Valokuitunen with, I believe, it is 6 games left in the regular season. I'd have to go back and check that, but there is a lot of opportunity for Valokuitunen to really take control of the #1 spot, and just considering that the level that this team is on, the form that they have been in, I have to be honest, it's hard to see anyone passing them with those games in hand and where they currently stand in the standings after these 2 victories. So for Valokuitunen, absolutely massive for them to accrue 6 points here in the series, and for Tohtorit, not just a missed opportunity here to potentially put themselves in position to run away with that #1 spot, but maybe concerning that they went up against another top team and did not play at the level that they played. And their record now against the other top 4 teams in the standings, 1-5. Very concerning for Tohtorit as they get closer to the playoffs. They're going to have to find a way to elevate their game at an extra level here as we get to playoff time, because games like the ones we saw today, when they play against some of those top teams, not going to be able to cut it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that we mentioned it throughout this one, but yeah, this is series like this, games like this against teams like this in Valokuitunen, and these are the litmus test for if a team quote unquote deserves to be considered a top team. They're near the top of the standings, but can they be considered a top team? That is still up for debate, but it is clear the potential is there for Tohtorit. We see flashes there, but we also saw some of the weaknesses that come from teams that aren't quite on the top. Is that, once things start going bad, are you able to keep your composure? Are you able to bounce back against Valokuitunen? In this instance, Tohtorit was not able to bounce back, but that does it for the first 2 games of our broadcast here. We will have another matchup between the Blackjacks and Vesa Pompa, I believe, for the second one. So we'll see you guys there after a brief break here and a word from our sponsors.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Time to go refill.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
And thank you for sticking with us. Brandon B. Major Bixby here with you as we get ready for the Blackjacks versus Vesa Pompa, a 2-game series to wrap up our coverage here today. Unfortunately, Sin having some power issues, so as he hopefully gets those fixed and gets those together, it'll be me here with you guys to cover things as we get ready for what should be a very fun matchup on tap. Two teams that are trying to solidify their place into the final 8. The Blackjacks currently holding the number 8 spot, while Vesa Pompa trying to get on the right side of the playoff cut line, as we will take just a quick peek of the standings to give you guys a visual look of how things are looking heading into this series. As you can see, the Blackjacks holding on to that 1 spot, 26 games played, 42 points so far in a very, very tight race from really 5 all the way on down, just 4 points separating those 4 teams. You see Vesa Pompa on the other end, 4 games in hand over Blackjacks, but 26 points only. It's going to take a lot for them to get in. Really, right now for Vesa Pompa, the key for them is trying to find their way into no man's land, 9 all the way down through 12, so they won't have to worry about playing in relegation series. As of now, they're in the 13th spot where they would have to play in a relegation series if the season were to end today. So a lot on the line for these two teams. It's going to be a lot of fun to see them go head-to-head as we will look at the head-to-head matchups between these two sides so far this season. As you take a look here, goals for pretty close between the two sides, 47 for Vesa Pompa, 52 so far for the Blackjacks. The Blackjacks have struggled a little bit on the offensive end compared to last season. As you can see that, especially in the power play numbers, just 4%. That is not a typo or a glitch. 4% on the power play, but we'll see if they can take advantage of what has been a weaker penalty kill in Vesa Pompa. Just 63.3% so far when they have been down a man so far this season. So two teams that are trying to kind of find their way in those respective areas, playing against one another, weakness versus weakness. We'll see if one of them can maybe elevate and figure out some of those problems here today. Take a quick look at the lineups here for both sides before we go into the matchups by position. We will start out with Vesa Pompa on the left side, Anton Lund at left wing, Zuvi at center, and Antonio Mannon at right wing to round out the forward trio. On the back end defensively, it'll be the pairing of Papine and Ekin at left defense and right defense. In between the pipes will be Kosti, while for the Blackjacks, Kushmich at left wing, Fopatoflin at the center spot, Timothy at right wing to round out the forward trio, while it'll be Tony at left D and Angel Kuru at right D. While in between the pipes, not going to be McSavid today, it'll be Simbanho at the goalie spot, who was the starter for this Blackjacks team last season, has been very good so far in the limited games that he has played. Take a look really quickly at the center matchup between Zuvi and Fopatoflin, two of the more experienced centers that you will find here in the Elite Division. As you can see so far, Fopatoflin coming in, replacing Sisu, who was the longtime centerman and captain for this Blackjacks team, led that team in goals. They go out and get Fopatoflin, who is a bit of a different player, more of a playmaker, more of a guy that distributes the puck to set up his teammates, but nevertheless has been pretty good, averaging a little bit over a point per game, 13 goals and 14 assists. Not too shabby so far for Fopatoflin in his first season with the Blackjacks. While for Zuvi, he has been spectacular per usual. A little bit lower on the points than what you would typically expect him to be statistically, but nevertheless, he's a guy that can typically make plays for his group. It's going to be a lot of fun to see him match up against this Blackjacks team that's been one of the better units all season so far defensively. We'll transition over to the winger matchups now, and the wing is going to be very fun to look at. Anton, who has been one of the more underrated goal scorers in the league this season for Vesa Pompa, 20 goals. He's a guy that came up from the pro division with Bjorklöven Esports, made the transition up to Elite and the transfer over to Vesa Pompa after a 40-goal regular season last season in pro. a guy that I think, in my opinion, easily has a case to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. We'll see how he can match up against a Blackjacks team that, once again, has been spectacular on the goals and the things. And you look at Kushimish and Timosey, very even numbers between the two of them. 17 goals for Kushimish, 15 so far for Timosey. So both of them have been very, very good. Timothy a little bit more efficient, 69 shots on the 15 goals that he has. So maybe not the shot output, but when he has put the puck on net, he's been rather efficient. So going to be a lot of fun to watch them work here today against this Vesa Pompa side. The back end for these two teams, defense matchup, always such a critical part of these matchups, and this one going to be no different. Papine and Ekin, obviously that pairing going to be a lot of fun. Ekin typically up there as a forward, but this season transitioning back to defense after the loss of Sebi Larson in the offseason has been rather solid back there so far. 15 points in 22 games, but has been especially impactful on the defensive end. But really on the right side, defense has been the story for this Blackjacks team. This is a team that so far this season is allowing the second best goals for per game in the league, just 1.79. The only team they're behind is Valokuitunen Esports, who we just saw. So this is a Blackjacks team that hasn't just been good defensively, they have been elite on the defensive end, and goaltending also a massive part of that. But those two, Tony and Angel Kuru, have been just outstanding, really, on that back end. And speaking of goaltending, let's take a quick look here at our goalie matchup here for this one. Kosti versus Simbanjo, and Kosti a 78.8 save percentage, a little bit under that average 80% that you would typically like to see from your goaltender, but Vesa Pompa not necessarily at the level that many expected them to be at this season. Kosti has been pretty solid in the games that he has played. Going to be fun to watch him go up against this Blackjacks team, and Simbanjo, who once again has stepped up here in the elite division and has really put on a show. Him and McSavid, arguably the best goaltending duo in the elite division. You see just the 6 games played, but Simbanjo, he has really proven to be one of the better goalies in this division. Was spectacular last season for this Blackjacks team. Took a little bit of a step back this season because of the addition of McSavid, but his play level has not taken a step back at all. Just under an 84 save percentage and 83.6 so far for him. Has 5 wins in the 6 games that he has played as well, and no regulation losses. So very fun to see how he will go against us competition that Blackjacks are very familiar with. These are two sides that have been in this division for a long time. They have kept their cores together for a long time as well. So 2 squads that are rather familiar with each other. Going to be a lot of fun to see them match up here in these next 2 games with so much on the line as we get ready to go here, just about a minute away from puck drop of game 1 between these 2 teams. And we're also close to the puck drop of the ECL 1v1 24 spring season. For those that are interested in participating on the 1v1 side, make sure you go to sportsgamer.gg to sign up now. Sign-ups are currently available, but not for too much longer. The 1v1 season will get underway sooner rather than later. I was fortunate enough to call the finals and semifinals for it. Let me tell you, it's a lot of fun and it's very competitive. So if you want to maybe get involved, make sure you go to sportsgamer.gg to sign up or to find more information. The teams have matched up and we are ready to go. The Blackjacks versus Vesa Pompa. This is going to be a fun one. Can't wait to get it underway here, as hopefully we can get Sin back in here to enjoy it with us, as these 2 sides very familiar with each other and 2 of the best sides that you will find in Europe as we are underway. As the Blackjacks start out with possession, we are looking at the perspective of Vesa Pompa. Papine will move this up the ice with pace. Holds it at the left boards and gives it up to the point. Holding it right now is Antonio Mannon, back over to Ekin. Ekin skates in, gives it back up to Papine at the point. Over to the left side, slap shot by Anton, saved by Simbanjo. And he'll hold on for the stoppage. Vesa Pompa with a nice job getting things going early here, cycling it around, trying to get that early momentum 2 minutes in. Defensive zone faceoff won momentarily by the Blackjacks, but taken away by Vesa Pompa. Antonio Mannon holds it behind the net. Circles it forward to the point over to Ekin. Shot on. Looked like he maybe was tipped, but Simbanjo with the save. He'll hold on for another whistle. So Vesa Pompa asserting themselves here early in this one. We'll see if they can maybe capitalize with an early goal. Face off to the left of Simbanjo, right side of our screen. Won by the Blackjacks in the defensive zone as Tony brings it up and tries to give it over to Kuzmich, but could not find him cleanly, and Vesapampa looks to respond. Antonio Manning has it, gets it past the blue line, skates it in at the left boards. Holding it, pressured by two defenders, and finds Papine behind him. Tried to skate it through the middle, but no room as that puck now loose and will go all the way back into the Vesapampa defensive zone to force them to reset. 5 minutes into this one, so far it's been all Vesapampa here early. Finds his way into the right corner board and goes to Antonio Manning here for Vesapampa. Controls at the point, tip shot on, saved by Simbano. He will hold on for the stoppage. Simbano tested here a few times early already. His 4 for 5th save so far of this game, just 6.5 minutes in. Not a lot of offensive production here for the Blackjacks. The offense has been the one thing that they have struggled on this season. They're elite defensively, but have struggled to find goals. You're seeing that play out here so far in the early going. Here come the Blackjacks now making it into the offensive zone. Timothy gets it in. Tried to pass it over to his teammate, but could not get him cleanly, as here comes Vesapampa now on the counter. Papine gives over to Zuvi, but it's turned over as Angel Kuru gets it. Finds his way over to Kushmish, who plays a little bit of tic-tac-toe there with Fopatoffelin, but is called offsides as they cross the blue line. 10:55 to play here in the first period. Still looking for the opening goal. Blackjacks currently holding the last playoff spot, so a lot of implications here for a few teams right around the playoff cut lines. Fopatoffelin with a chance, shot on, saved by Costi. The first chance for the Blackjacks is a good one, robbed by the goaltender, and he'll hold on for the stoppage. Huge save there from Costi, despite the animation. Faced off won by the Blackjacks in the offensive zone is picked up down low by Timothy and turned over. Antonio Manning controls in the neutral zone. Bends and gives it back to Papine to reset. He now has it. Gives it over to Antonio Manning on the right boards. Manning looking, couldn't find anything as he tried to cut across. Puck found its way to Zuvi and now to Papine. Papine holds it at the left corner board. Rings it around to the point, but nobody home, and it'll go all the way back to the Vesapampa defensive zone. A minute to play, still looking for our first goal. Best chance of the day by the Blackjacks there just a minute or two ago. Papine gets it, has a space, shot on, they score! Papine with the opening goal, the left defenseman for Vesapampa, and he gives his team the early lead. 5th goal of the season for Papine. As it was a bit of a puck battle there as he was trying to cross the blue line. He ended up being able to get to it. No offsides. Skated his way through the middle. Got it in a high danger area. And Simbano was not able to make the save. Vesapampa takes control early with 6 minutes to go here in the first period as an offsides is called as they tried to cross the blue line once again. Up, faced off, won by the Blackjacks in the neutral zone. Now by Vesapampa after the turnover. Antonio Manning controls it at the right boards. To back after a near turnover, pass across. Zuvi not able to get a shot off, but Vesapampa still with it. Puck loose in front. Simbano trying to get it, digging for it as Angel Kuru has it. And now Fopatoffelin gets it and gives it back to Angel Kuru. It's the Blackjacks. Get it out of danger. Timothy speeds down the left boards and rings it around the opposite side to Fopatoffelin. Back down to Timothy. Over to Angel Kuru. Shot on from the point. Looks like it might have been blocked in front as Vesapampa will pick this up and will start the breakout with less than 3 minutes to play in period number 1. Vesapampa leading by 1 here. Timothy speeds pass across opposite side. Couldn't find a home, and now Papine will control it here for Vesapampa. For it on the right boards. Found by Papine here in the neutral zone. Less than a minute to play. Second takes it up. Holds it the high slot, circling around and gives it to Zuvi at the right corner board. 6 seconds left. Vesapampa looking for one more chance. Anton has it behind the net, gives it to Papine. Needs a shot. Shot on is blocked in front. Another shot blocked once again by a Blackjacks defender. And that will do it for the first period. Plenty of action, but it is Vesa Pompa who takes the early lead with the shot on from Papine that beats Simbano. It's a 1-0 Vesa Pompa lead after one. As you take a quick look at the stats there from that first period, and kind of indicative of what we saw there on the ice. Really, Vesa Pompa controlling the play. The Blackjacks not able to get a lot going on the offensive end. As you get a look here at the goal, Papine just able to kind of split his way through the two defenders of the Blackjacks. And once he got that space, it was him and Simbano all alone, one-on-one. He was able to beat him. It was Vesa Pompa, that 1-0 lead that they ever so needed. Remember, Vesa Pompa currently the last team outside of no man's land, 9 through 12. Not in the playoffs, but clinched their spot into the Elite Division for the Winter 25 season. And one that's 13, 14, and 15 after you keep their way up through a relegation series. We are back underway. We are going to switch the sides here, now looking at the perspective of the Blackjacks. So this is Tohtorit who has it. Shot on from the high left point, blocked in front, and Ekin will control it now here for Vesa Pompa. Got the Papine over the boards, and he's going to be called an offsides against Vesa Pompa. It's off to the right side of the neutral zone. Line up, won by Vesa Pompa as Antonio Mannon skates it past the blue line over at the right boards. Holds it, gives it up to Papine at the point. Papine circles around, gives it back over to Ekin. Slap shot goes wide past Simbano. Puck loose over by the left post, and it's found by the Blackjacks. Here comes Kushmich. Kushmich with speed. Holds at the left boards, but poked away. Great defense there by Papine. He has been an impact here so far in this game. Worth the lone goal here for Vesa Pompa. Good shot from the point. Nice juicy rebound, but nobody home for it there for Vesa Pompa. They do get the puck back. Mannon holds it the right face-off dot, but it's turned over. Nice play from Antonio Mannon defensively. Here comes Timothy over to Tohtorit. Shot on. Dangerous there, but a nice job there from Papine to apply some pressure to cause the turnover. He controls it here from Vesa Pompa. Nice hit there as Vesa Pompa forced to go back and reset as Ekin controls it. It's halfway through this one. The Blackjacks still trying to find the tying answer. Dump this out of the defensive zone, and it's given chase, potentially one-on-one, but Timothy doesn't have the speed to get there. Nice hustle there from Vesa Pompa to get back. Here comes Antonio Mannon, trying to skate his way through the middle. Goes over to the right boards and gives it to Ekin at the point. Ekin holds it, not much pressure. Shot on, another rebound chance! Oh, Antonio Mannon had it, but he couldn't get it on net. Controls the puck here, shot on from Anton the slot. Glove save made by Simbano, and he'll hold on for the whistle. Well, a flurry of chances there from Vesa Pompa. The original shot on, the rebound, and then another chance there on the slot. Unable to find the back of the net. But Vesa Pompa trying to find their rhythm here once again offensively after the Blackjacks started to push back. Here comes Kushmich. Kushmich all alone! Save made by Kosti. Goaltending stepping up here big for both sides in this one. Tony and Zuvi battle for it, but it finds the way to Timothy. Here comes Kushmich now on the left side. Also known to many as Kermit. Timothy controls it and gives up the Tone, who finds it back over to Kermit at the left side, but it's turned over immediately, and Anton Lund will control it for Vesa Pompa and give it back to Papine. The Ekin, the opposite side D. Then past the blue line, not a lot of time or space. He's Balfour down low, and Vesa Pompa gets control, but turns it over. 5.5 minutes to play, still a 1-0 scoreline. Tohtorit has it, tried to pass it across over to Timothy, but couldn't find him cleanly. A nice pick there from the defender. Kermit has it. Moving it up over on Okuru at the right point, couldn't find anything. Tohtorit now has it, tried to reverse his way back in front, puck loose for a second, but Kosti ends up getting a hold of it. We'll stop this here for freeze. 3:52 to play here in the second period. Blackjack starting to find the rhythm here just a little bit here on the offensive end. Off one by the Blackjack, shot on, save made from Costi. That's a Pompa trying to get it out of their own zone, and they do. Goofy has it, nice little self-play over on the board, but it's turned over as Valokuitunen will give it back to the defense, and Tony will take it up. To Kermit, with Timothy, but it's turned over, and here comes Antonio Mann, and 2-on-2, turning into a 3-on-3. Tried to pass it up to the high slot, but it's turned over in a breakaway. Timothy pulls back, gives it to Valokuitunen, tried to pass it across, but couldn't hit him in stride. Jack scores possession, however. Kuyu had it at the right point, but he's bumped off, and here comes Anton on the counter. On the pass attempt, but gets it back. Down low, reversed it up to the point, but nobody there for Vesa Pompa. 6 seconds to play, last chance. Kermit gets it past the blue line, 1 second left, tried to pass it over to Valokuitunen, but could not hit him in stride, as that will do it for period number 2. Our score remains the same, a 1-0 lead for Vesa Pompa. Back and forth, a few chances for the Blackjacks, but nothing finding its way in the back of the net. The next goal going to play critical here more than likely, as both these teams have plenty to play for in different parts of the standings. Take a quick look here at the stats after 2 periods. 7-4 Vesa Pompa in terms of shots. Also getting a good bulk of their time on attack here so far in this game, as we'll get another look here at that breakaway save there by Costi. They tried to hit the 5-hole, but off of a piece of the padding and off of the stick. There was another chance there from the Blackjacks, as the shot on there from Valokuitunen hitting the mask of Costi that time. Costi, the stats maybe not showing his level of play. It's over 78 save percentage. He's a guy that can stand on his head when needed, as we are underway for the 3rd period, and it'll start out with a penalty. The Blackjacks going to take a penalty. Kermit going to the box for a tripping call after the face-off. And Vesa Pompa, chance throwing the power play to extend their lead here. Blackjacks strong on the PK so far this season, 81.6%. Vesa Pompa so far on the power play, 20.69%. Both right around the middle here in the Elite Division. It has it, shot on, another shot on the rebound, and they scored! Zuvi cleans it up and extends Vesa Pompa's lead to 2. So a quick answer on the power play goal from Vesa Pompa, a beautiful cycle. As you see that shot on from the right face-off dot from Ekin leads to that juicy rebound for for Zuvi to take advantage of, and he was set up perfectly there. Went right into the area that he was in the middle of the ice. And just nothing that Simbanio could do about that one. Blackjacks now up by 2, Vesa Pompa now up by 2, and the Blackjacks looking for a response. Timothy shot on, save made from Costi as Kermit has it up to Valokuitunen. One shot on, another save made as Costi all the puck loose in front of him, and will find it and freeze it. And a half to play here in regulation. Vesa Pompa up by a pair. Control it here as Ekin brings it in the neutral zone, speeds his way past the blue line. Back up to the high slot, but couldn't find his man in stride, as here comes the Blackjacks on the counter. Kennedy moves his way at the left boards, takes it around the Kermit. Up to the point now. John Kuru, but it's turned over. Turned over to Antonio Mann. To the left corner board. Looking for space, looking for a pass, still controlling it down there and goes down low. Trying to get it back over to Antonio, but couldn't find him as it's turned over. A nice pick off there from the Blackjacks. Here comes Valokuitunen over to Timothy. Could not find that pass across. Vesa Pompa will take it on the turnover and will try to set up the offense. Controlling it. He's been a lot more active here over the last few minutes. Didn't call his name too much during the 1st and 2nd period. Tony at the point, back to Kermit down low, puck loose in front, found by Timothy over at the right post, shot on from Kermit, save made from Costi, and here comes Vesa Pompa on the other end with possession. Antonio Gets it over, but could not get it as it hit off of his skate. And now the Blackjacks come on the other end. Look at Tony, back to Kermit. The left board tried to hit the man in Angel Kuru at the point for a slap shot, but he could not get that pass off. 2 minutes to play. Vesa Pompa looking to hold on. And a shot off from the point, blocked in front. Kermit picks it up for the Blackjacks. Able to set things up. Kuru stopped at the blue line as the puck is loose. Tennessee picks it up. Offside's going to be called with 10:01 on the play here in period number 3. Face off to the high right side of the neutral zone. Run by the Blackjacks. They had it in the offensive zone there for a second, but couldn't keep it for long to sustain anything. Becken gets it on the breakout, pushing up as the right defender, trying to get a quick shot on off the pad of Simbano, and the Blackjacks looking to come up and make a counterattack. Tofflin on Helkulu. Hope check by Zuvi, gets it off the stick, and a delayed penalty going to be called against the Blackjacks. 2 on for Vesa Pompa. Antonio Manning puts it in. No need for the power play. They convert on the 2-on-1 odd man rush. And it is a 3-0 lead. Could that potentially be the dagger here for Vesa Pompa? Get a look at the replay there. Antonio Manning puts it in, his 12th goal of the season. Leads this team in points coming into the day with 31. Adds to his tally there with that goal. So 7.5 minutes to play. Vesa Pompa, like they're in full control here. As talked about this with the Blackjacks, a team that's been great defensively, but have struggled so far this season on the offensive end. Now they're in the offensive zone right now as Flipper Tofflin controls it, gives it back to the point on Helkuru with a shot on. Pad save made by Costi. Only gets it for a second, but brought the puck into the neutral zone and back into the offensive zone, so it will be called an offsides. Talked about the struggle offensively for the Blackjacks. We have the stat on that. So far this season, 1.88 goals for per game. That is the 3rd lowest in the elite this season. The only teams with lower goals for per game are Polsky Boys and Renascore. They also have worst power play in the league this season at 4%. So the offensive struggle is continuing so far here for the Blackjacks in this one. There's a chance here for Papine and Vesa Pompa. Pass across. Could not hit Antonio Manning cleanly, but he gets it back after the puck trickled. Back in the neutral zone as Ekin controls it, and he breaks it back into the offensive zone. Ekin trying to skate his way through the middle, but could not find space. And here come the Blackjacks here on the counterattack. With the 12th one over to Tony. Shot on! Looks like it might have gone wide there. A little bit strong there, but a good opportunity. Going to be called offsides. 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Vesa Pompa well on their way to a big 3 points in the standings. It's off to the left side in the neutral zone. And cleanly by Vesa Pompa. Anton has it. Tried to pass it across. It's off the pad of Simbano, but Zuvi gets it back here for Vesa Pompa. Zuvi to Antonio Manning in the slot, and he scores! Vesa Pompa extend their lead. Antonio Manning back-to-back goals. And it is a 4-0 game. And if there was any doubt the way this one was going to go, that right there will put it to rest as he just beats Simbano cleanly on that one. Nice pass over to the high slot. Antonio Manning makes no doubt about it. A 4-0 advantage. And a controlling win for Vesa Pompa. Blackjacks at least looking to break the shutout here as Tony with a shot off from the high left point. Save fade from Costi, and he'll stop it. A whistle. 28.3 seconds left here in the 3rd period. It's off to the right side of Costi, left side of our screen. Tony with it, gives it over to Flipper Tofflin at the right boards. And over is Zuvi had it, but got bumped off of it as a pass across. Ooh, there was a chance there for the Blackjacks, but a nice pick-off from the defender, Vesa Pompa. 12 seconds to play. Last gasp here for the Blackjacks trying to find a goal. Tennessee has it up the left boards. Gives it back to Tony. Skates his way in. Shot on! Saved by Costi. Puck loose in front. Battle for it, but not enough time as Vesa Pompa close out the shutout. A 4-0 victory over the Blackjacks. A massive 3 points for them in the standings. And Costi, what a performance from him and the Vesa Pompa defense in front of him. His 4th shutout of the season. And Vesa Pompa with a demanding victory, 4-0 over the Blackjacks. You get a look at the goal that started it all from Papine in the first period. Split the 2 defenders and was able to beat Simbanio between the 5-hole, as that was really the one that kind of snowballed the surge of scoring momentum that we saw from Vesa Pompa there throughout the rest of the game. The Blackjacks had a couple of opportunities, but were not able to beat Costi, were not able to create enough chances. Vesa Pompa really from that point forward took control of this one on the offensive end. With 3 more in after that Papine goal. Now we'll go into the second game of the series with plenty of momentum and plenty to feel good about. It's going to be interesting to see how the Blackjacks respond after that one, as you see an 11-save shutout there for Costi in that game. Just a 1-shot difference between the 2 teams. 3.5-minute difference in time of attack. So Pompa had the advantage in both of those respective categories, as it looks like we will get a look at the goals here that were scored. As this was the opening goal here, if you weren't with us earlier, Papine able to cause the turnover, won the puck battle, split the 2 defenders, and was able to beat Simbanio there, as it was 1-0 at the end of the first period. The Blackjacks looked like they may have had a response, but a early penalty to start the second period gave Vesa Pompa a power play, which they took advantage on with that goal, and it's off to the races after that. As back-to-back goals from Antonio Mannon was able to give Vesa Pompa that extra padding. Decisive 4-0 victory over the 8th place team in the ECL Elite standings, as we will go back into the booth. Brandon B. Major Bigsby with you here as our 3rd of 4 games complete. Vesa Pompa for dominant victory. The Blackjacks looking to find answers here going into the second game of this series and the last game of our coverage here today. We're going to take a short break and hear a word from our amazing sponsor and COVID-Ocracy. Do not go away. We will be right back with the last game of our broadcast here tonight, Vesa Pompa versus the Blackjacks. Don't go away. Be right back after the break.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi. Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
This is a big 3 points here for both these two sides. Vesa Pompa secured the first 3 points. We will see if the Blackjacks can secure the next 3 points as we are about to get underway here in the last game of our coverage. We are underway between the Blackjacks and Vesa Pompa. We are looking at the side of the Blackjacks here. Vesa Pompa in the offensive zone, controlling it right now. Holding it down low is Antonio Manin, still controlling it, trying to go up there. That was Anton who ended up getting that puck. Couldn't find the clean shot on net as the Blackjacks looking to respond. Could not find much of any offense there in game number 1. We'll see how they adjust here in the second game. It's Tohtorit has it over at the right boards. Gets up to the point. Controlling it is on Helkuru. Gives it over to Tony. Sit down low to Tohtorit. Pulls at the left corner board, back to Tony at the left point. Over to Helkuru, shot on from the point, blocked in front. Tohtorit gets it back, however, for the Blackjacks, but Antonio Manin picks it off as he tried to kick that over to the left side after the tie-up on the boards. Puck loose over on the right post, and it's picked up by the Blackjacks. Timothy will speed his way up the right boards and circle it around. Given chase and found by Ekin for Vesa Pompa. Manin dekes his way past the blue line and finds his way to Papine. Over to Zuvi. Puck loose there in the high slot and found by the Blackjacks. Here comes Timothy over at the left boards. Nice bump off there made from Ekin. One of the top 1v1 players in the world, and if you want to get involved in that 1v1 action, make sure you go to SportsGamer.gg, sign up for our ECL 24 Spring 1v1 tournament. Find all of the information and the sign-ups on the website, SportsGamer.gg. Offsides there will be called. Face off in the neutral zone. And Manny controls Vesa Pompa at the high point. Gives it back to Papine over at the left point now. Had it for a second, but lost control, but it's brought back over by Papine, who tries to get it back up to the high point, but nobody was there. It will go all the way in to the Vesa Pompa defensive zone. Bean breaks it in, finds Anton Lund at the left boards. Holding at the corner board is Anton. Gives up to Ekin at the high point. Ekin controlling and gives it to Antonio Manin. Antonio Manin down low. Tried to give a pass over. And get it off cleanly there in the high slot. Still scoreless here after 11 minutes of this one. The Blackjacks breaking it into the offensive zone as we do apologize for the little bit of lag here. We'll try to clean that up as soon as we can. There we go, we're back underway. A quick shot almost blocked in front as here comes Vesa Pompa on the other end. Couldn't find the pass across with Zuvi as the Blackjacks tried to find a counter. Flip it off one to Tony, over to Timothy at the right side. Had a shot at it, but couldn't get the shot on net. The defense really showing out here for both of these two teams here in the first period. Manny controls in the offensive zone. Bumped off the puck. Nice play there from the Blackjacks defensively as here come the Blackjacks in the offensive zone. Trolling is on Helkuru down to Timothy. Tried to pass it across there to Kermit, but couldn't hit him cleanly. Ekin with it, bumped off, but it's going to be a power play for Vesa Pompa. A cross-checking going to be called against Kushmish. As remember, the only power play that we saw in the last game was for Vesa Pompa. They scored on that power play, and it gave them a 2-0 lead. So Vesa Pompa, another chance here with the man advantage. We'll see if they can find a similar result for the opening goal of this contest. 5:11 remaining here in period number 1. That's his own face-off, won by the Blackjacks. Timothy has it. He will dump that out into the defensive zone as Costi will get control of it and will play that out to Papine. Papine trying to work his way past the blue line and does. This is over to Antonio Manna at the high point, goes down to Ekin. Ekin shot on, save made by Simbanio, and he'll hold on for the whistle. Something you'll notice on the power play is that Ekin is playing a more forward-esque role. We saw that on the last power play that they had. Him and Antonio Manning kind of switching roles. Antonio being more of the defender, Ekin being more of the forward. Saw him create that chance there that led to that power play goal in game number 1. So far, not as much success for Vesa Pompa. Nice job there from the Blackjacks clearing it as Vesa Pompa back in the offensive zone. Antonio Manning holds it. Trying to find ways to face a one-timer on the pass, and they score. Anton Lund puts it in, his 21st goal of the season. And Vesa Pompa start out the scoring. The leading goal getter for this team, the rookie in Anton. And Simbanio just not able to get to that opposite side. That 1T ability of Anton just coming to play. So much power behind that shot. Nothing you can do there if you're a goaltender. Vesa Pompa 2 for 2 on the power play in this series. This one gives them a lead here in game number 2. An offside's called rather quickly there after the neutral zone faceoff. Rio 1 to go here in the first period. The Blackjacks still looking for their first score of this series. Kermit has it and gives it back to Timothy. Timothy over to Tony at the left boards, back down low. Versus around to the opposite side point. Shot on from Anal Kuru, blocked in front, but Kermit gets it back for the Blackjacks. Battle for behind the net. Finds his way to Antonio Manning for Vesa Pompa. A minute and a half to play. Kuru picks off the dangle attempt there for Vesa Pompa as Falpatolfin controls it. Get to the point. Kuru shot on. Another shot, another chance. Saved by Costi. 15 seconds to play. Tony shot on, blocked in front. Kermit gets it. Pass across. Oh, had a chance, but couldn't get the shot on cleanly to beat Costi. Papine will control it. He'll hold on to run out the time, and that will do it. For the end of the first period, Vesa Pompa, just like in game 1, a 1-goal advantage. They get this one on the power play as the setup from the right side over to Anton Lund. Sets him up perfectly for the one-timer, beats Simbanio clean, and gives them that 1-goal advantage. Be really interesting to see the stats here after the first 20 minutes, as it felt like it was relatively even for the most part. The Blackjacks, not a lot of shots on net, but did a little bit of a better job getting zone time, as that's exactly what we saw here with the stats. 3 shots on net for Vesa Pompa, 2 for the Blackjacks, but in terms of the time and attack, pretty even between the two. As we get another look here at the replay, as what a job there from Antonio Manning, threading the needle to get that pass through over to Anton. As you can see, 3 defenders through the middle, but he just sneaks it behind them. Not through them, but behind them. And with the way that Anton was positioned, just able to get that one-time shot on with a lot of open net there. Simbanio not able to slide from his left post to his right to make that save. So Pompa up by a goal because of it. As we are underway for period number 2. There's a shot on and they score! Anton once again puts it in, a 2-0 lead for Vesa Pompa. He scored both of them. And right now, the Blackjacks in dire straits here in these 2 games. Is a quick opportunity there, just a minute into the second period. As there was the 1T gold X Factor the first time it helped him out. This time it was the superstar ability of the close quarters that gave him that little bit of advantage. A 2-0 lead, however, for Vesa Pompa. The Blackjacks looking for answers still here offensively. They have not scored yet so far through 4 periods of this series. Trying to change their fortunes here. Helkuru controls and gives it to Pompa Toughlin. Backed on Helkuru. Shot on was poked away by Anton. And here he goes. Has some help. Gets in the offensive zone as Antonio Manning controls it, but he's bumped off of that puck by a pair of Blackjacks defenders. Turned over in the neutral zone, but found by Pompa Toughlin. Reverse course and reset things. Helkuru now has it. Tried to force that over to the right winger of Timothy, but he could not get enough space as he called offsides as Vesa Pompa tried to bring it in past the blue line. Team 13 to play. Vesa Pompa so far through 85 minutes of this series have outscored the Blackjacks 6-0. Anton Lund has it here for Vesa Pompa. It's down to Antonio Manning. Tries to work his way up to the high slot and gives it up to Papine at the point. Papine holds it, skates in, goes behind the net, looking for some space and an option, but nothing available to him, as here comes Kermit up the left boards. Gives it to Timothy right side, now to Pompa Toughlin. Get to the right boards, over to Timothy, shot on, save made by Kosti, and Ekin will pick that up. No second chances so far here for the Blackjacks. It's been a story. Here's a shot on from Pompa Toughlin, another save from Kosti, and so far, the Blackjacks starting to get something going. They get full pressure, but a nice job from Vesa Pompa clearing it. Ekin with control. Tried to put a little toe drag move on the defender, but couldn't hold on to the puck. It's a big hit in the middle of the ice there on Kermit, but the Blackjacks still control it. Alku trying to do a spin move past the defender, but he couldn't get the space, and here comes Papine on the other end. Papine holding it, goes down low over to Zuvi. Zuvi to Ekin at the point. Ekin draws a tripping penalty, and it will be another power play here for Vesa Pompa. This time, the penalty going to be called against Timothy, the right winger for the Blackjacks. See it right there, just that poke check over to the left side. He was a little bit behind him, got a piece of the skate, and Vesa Pompa, who is 2 for 2 on the man advantage in this series, will have another chance. 1 for 1 in this game so far. Papine gets it on the face-off win at the high slot. Skates in, pass across. Nice pick-off there made by the left defenseman in Tony. Antonio Manning controls it at the right point. There's a lot of time and a lot of space here as we apologize here for the delay. Kermit gets it there on the poke check and clear that one out. Nice defensive play made by the Blackjacks. It's a team that came in at over 81% on the penalty kill. They've struggled with it so far here today. Manning controls it, the high point. Back to Papine, the opposite side point. Skates in, shot on, and they score! He beats the goaltender once again! Papine, his second goal of this series, his first goal of this game. It's a 3-0 advantage for Vesa Pompa. And the Blackjacks, they want to settle this down and call a timeout as, wait, no, actually it looks like Zimbanio actually got dropped out here. So a 3-0 Vesa Pompa advantage. And it looks like we're going to have to reset things here halfway through this game. So take a quick look at the stats because you're not going to see him again. A 3-0 lead for Vesa Pompa. 5:33 time on attack compared to 3:52 for the Blackjacks. 2-shot advantage for Vesa Pompa here as well, as we will get a look here at the 2 goals here that we've seen here in the second period. As you can see, the pseudo one-time play there from Anton Lund was, once again, Antonio Manning to set him up. Nearly identical play from the opening goal. And you see that power play goal there, Papine driving his way to the net. As it looks like we will get a look at it here as what happened is, yeah, it was basically a 5-on-3. It looks like there was it looks like somebody dropped out, a little bit of lagging going on. That basically made a 5-on-3 for Vesa Pompa. So we will go back into the booth here as we get the connection issues figured out here. A 3-0 Vesa Pompa lead here halfway through the second period. We're going to take a short break here while they get everything settled, but do not go away. Vesa Pompa is rolling. We'll see if the Blackjacks can fight their way back into this here with half of this game underway. Vesa Pompa will be on a power play when we get back. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break. We are back and underway. Thank you guys for being patient and sticking with us there through that delay. As Vesa Pompa currently up 3-0 in the second period, so do not let the score down below deceive you. Everything that you saw happen there in the first 10 minutes still happened, just not going to show there on the scoreboard, but we'll make sure to remind you guys periodically as we are underway and ready to go here. Is Vesa Pompa in control possession as a quick chance there was kicked away there from Simbanio. Blackjack had control of it there for a second, but not for long, as a turnover created by Vesa Pompa, and Papin tries to break it in. Turned over, nice pick off there by the Blackjacks as Tohtorit gives it over to Kermit. Kermit skates in, tried to get a shot on, Puck loose in front, save made by Costi! Big play there from the goaltender, but the Blackjacks still on the attack. Pass in front, puck loose, picked up and found by Costi, who will freeze it. Big save there by Costi to make that save. Best chance of the game by far here for the Blackjacks in the second game. We'll see if they can maybe capitalize on it. Trying to get some pressure. Face off one in the offensive zone by the Blackjacks. Crew has it, tried to pass in the front, but no one was there. And here comes Vesa Pompa on the other end. Anton controlling it. Tried to put a move on the defender of Tony, but was not able to do so successfully. Tohtorit has it. Puck poked, and here comes Anton, one-on-one. Has some defenders behind him, however. Nice back checking there from the Blackjacks. Puck control from behind the net by Vesa Pompa. Antonio Manning gives it down to Zuvi. Zuvi looking, trying to find space in a pass. Nothing available to him, but Antonio Manning gets it over on the boards. Picked back up by Zuvi, but turned over as Kermit takes a big hit, and it's turned over by the Blackjacks. And that's been the story. Relentless defending by Vesa Pompa here so far in this game. Here comes Tennessee on 1-on-4. Didn't have a lot of space to do much with it, so an easy save made by Costi as a tripping call. Nice draw there from Antonio Manning, and another power play for Vesa Pompa. It is going to be Kermit going to the box for a third time here in this series. Second time in this game number 2. Get a look, just got him right from behind there. Was trying to make a defensive play. The Blackjacks down by 3. Know they need to make something happen. Just a little bit aggressive. A little too aggressive there, unfortunately, as Vesa Pompa now with a power play. Trying in the offensive zone. Control for just a second, but it was picked up there by the Blackjacks as they turned it over in their own zone. A shot on from Ekins, saved. Papin now has it at the high point. Pass across to Zubi, shot on, blocked in front. Tohtorit has it, gives it to Tony, who will dump this one away halfway through this Vesa Pompa power play. Chances there for Vesa Pompa, trying to find the back of the net once again. They're 2 for 3 on the power play in this series so far. 1 for 2 in this game. Antonio Manning shot on, puck loose in front, battle for it as Simbanio manages to scrum through it and find it. Hold on for a whistle with 26.5 seconds remaining here in period number 2. 27 seconds to go here on the power play for Vesa Pompa. Back in front for Antonio Manning. Holding it, trying to find a little bit of space. Nice defense here by Timothy. It's a shot on, saved in the chest of Simbanio, and he'll hold on once again with 4.5 seconds left. Enough time for one more shot here for Vesa Pompa. Lose the face-off. Nice defensive zone draw, but a turnover. Puck was in front. Tony picks it up. And very big that he did, because if that was picked up by Vesa Pompa, Simbanio eyeing just a little bit there, but no harm, no foul. The Blackjacks kill off the penalty and end the second period, not allowing any more damage to be done, but still have to manage a comeback down 3-0 after 40 minutes. So Pompa have been just absolutely outstanding, really, on both sides. And this is the Vesa Pompa that many people expected to see this season. These are two teams that made the playoffs last year. Vesa Pompa was the 6th seed last season, went 11, 5, and 7. Were able to give Jyväskylä a shocking upset in the quarterfinal, made it to the semifinal. Lost to Tunnel Vision, currently are well outside the playoffs, but trying to at least secure their spot into that elite division position for next season. It'll take a lot for them to get in the playoffs. 26 points compared to the 40 of Blackjacks, just 3 games in hand. But nevertheless, we've seen crazier things happen, and 6 points here in these games would help them as a wraparound attempt there for the Blackjacks. Not able to go. You can see the lines for both sides there on the bottom left and right-hand corner of your screen. It's a play, and a shot, and a score. Pompa puts it through, and the drought is over. The Blackjacks managed to find the score sheet. A 3-1 game now, and hold on, guys. We might have a contest here on our hands. As the quick pass there in front from Kermit over to Pompa is able to give the Blackjacks their first score here today in this series. So a 3-1 score line. Lots of time left here as well, so don't click that X on the top left just yet. We wouldn't want you to do that anyways. I mean, we've got a lot of action here, and we get to see the standings as well as a preview of our broadcast for tomorrow as a delayed penalty, a tripping call going to go against the Blackjacks as Vesa trying to take advantage. That's a cross shot on, saved by Simbanyo. He'll hold on, and that'll bring about the power play as Timothy will go to the box for that tripping call that we mentioned. So Pompa 2 for 4 on the power play in this series so far. 1 for 3 in this game. As puck cleared out by the Blackjacks and picked up actually by Kermit as he'll break it into the offensive zone. Kermit to Tony. Tony pass across the Pompa, tough one, blocker save made by Costi. Big play there. A shorthanded goal would have completely turned the tides of this one. Beckman controls it and gives it to Antonio Manning. The Blackjacks looking a lot better here in this third period. Easily the best sequence of play we've seen from them here so far today. Papine has it at the high point. Kicks it in the end. Tony couldn't control it. Tony gives it the curve to the neutral zone. Reverses it back to Tony behind him, killing off time as they find their way back up to Kermit in the middle of the slot. Trying to make a move on the defender, but couldn't. As a nice hit causes the turnover. Kermit goes back to back to the defender at the high point as he's slow to get up. Kermit is. Looks like he may have sustained an injury there, and that's going to force the puck to go all the way back in the defensive zone. Over on Helku, tried to find Pompa down the middle, but couldn't do so cleanly. Lots of pressure here from the Blackjacks. Another turnover by Vesa Pompa. Tennessee has it, pass across, couldn't get the shot on. There was some space there, but Kermit wasn't able to get his stick on the puck. Anton has it, finds the way to Zuby and goes back to Anton as Vesa Pompa finally gets it out of their own zone. Antonio Manning backhand shot, save made by Simbanyo. He still has puck possession, however. 11 minutes to play. The Blackjacks down by 2 in this one. 3-1 your score after that lag out earlier that we saw. Kermit has it at the left boards. Goes back to Tony behind him at the point. Finds his way back to Kermit. Pass. Score! Pompa with his second of the game! And just like that, the lead is cut down to 1. 3-2 here in the third period. Pompa with his 15th goal of the season. As you see the quick passing set up there by the Blackjacks, they reverse it down low. It starts out with Kermit, goes back over to Tony, back to Kermit, finds Pompa, the defender not in sight to pick Pompa up in the middle. And all of a sudden, we have got a game here, ladies and gentlemen, with half of the third period left to go. Remember, that is not the second period, it is the third period after we had that lag out in the middle of the second. So ignore the scoreline that you see on the bottom of your screen. It is 3-2 Vesa Pompa, 10:07 to go in the third period. Just now joining us, Vesa Pompa won game 1 4-0 over the Blackjacks. Blackjacks trying to respond here with 3 points. They currently hold on to the last playoff spot here in the Elite Division. Vesa Pompa still in the race, but it's a long shot. Tennessee has it and gives it up to Kermit. Kermit holds a shot on. Blocker save made by Costa, but Kermit gets it back behind the net. Kermit controls it. He's pressured by a defender. Tries to kick it over to his left. Timothy, but he couldn't control it. Comes Vesa Pompa on the counter. Antonio Manning skates with speed up the boards. Battle from behind the net, and the Blackjacks come out with it. Here comes Timothy, over at the right board. Stops, goes, gives it over to Tofflin behind the net, and it finds a way to curve. Shot on as it hit the side of the net, maybe banked off Costi, but nevertheless, Costi will get it. Will hold on for a stoppage. And a timeout going to be called here, I believe, by the Blackjacks. Take another look here at that goal that brought that Vesa Pompa lead down the one. Thought that maybe it could have potentially been blocked. That was a nice effort from Papine to try to get in front of the shooting lane, but unfortunately too little too late. Wasn't able to halt that shot from going in the back of the net. As the Blackjacks, with momentum, have a lot of offensive opportunities. Less than 6 minutes to play, looking to tie this game up here with a goal. Offensive zone face-off won by the Blackjacks. Shot on, juicy rebound, shot on, score! Pompa Tofflin yet again, putting the team on his back. He's got a hat trick, and from 3-0 down to a 3-3 score, the Blackjacks shuffle the deck and tie this game up. And it looks like there is another lag out here. So the Blackjacks get 3 goals and have a lag out. Vesa Pompa gets 3 goals and have a lag out. We are tied at 3 apiece. And now the momentum is completely split down the middle. We've got drama here in ECL, ladies and gentlemen. What a game we've got. And when this thing gets back underway, we are going to have a heck of a finish. So you might want to grab your drink, grab your popcorn while you can, while these two teams get set up. As we'll take another look there at the goal for Tofflin off of the rebound chance, off of the offensive zone face-off win. Ties this thing up for the Blackjacks. What a comeback here for a team that, as we mentioned, desperately needs the 3 points, currently holding on to the last playoff spot. A lot of teams around them chasing them down. You still have Purification, who are looking to get some points. You still have Roots Gaming, who are in the mix. Vesa Pompa still in the mix, even though they're a little bit outside. You have Unwanted and Exon that are still in that same vicinity ahead of the Blackjacks, but are only ahead of them by a point or two. So the Blackjacks desperately needed points. They've made the comeback happen as you get a look at what Kermit was looking at there, which was nothing. That was basically a shorthanded goal off of the face-off win there for the Blackjacks. Kermit did not even take a stride, was not able to move, but it didn't matter. The quick setup off the face-off win gave Tofflin that rebound shot, and the tying mark here for the Blackjacks. We're going to take a quick break while these two teams get things set up, but do not go away, my friends. Stay patient with us. Patience pays off. Promising you now, this is going to be a great finish. 3-3 here in the third period with just around 5 minutes left here. Do not go away. We will be right back with the remainder of this one right after this short break. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us as Vesa Pompa and the Blackjacks start to get things underway here. We're going to explain this really quickly here for you as we know that the lag outs and some of the dropouts kind of can cause some confusion. So we're going to explain to you how this is going to work. Both teams are going to start this game out from the beginning. So it will be the first period, 20 minutes on what you see. However, it is going to be a 3-3 score, and they're going to go through the first 5 minutes as regulation. So if we go 5 minutes without a goal, then it will go into overtime. If a team scores after that, the game will end. That one goal will be the game winner. However, if there is a goal before the first 5 minutes, the game will continue on up until that 5-minute period. So the first 5 minutes of this quote-unquote first period will be regulation. Anything after, if we don't have a goal, will be considered overtime. Once again, it is a 3-3 score. Vesa Pompa versus the Blackjacks. Vesa Pompa won the first game 4-0. They were up 3-0 here in the second game, but the Blackjacks charged their way back. A furious comeback and a chance for them to accrue points. As we are underway, Ekin controls it as he tries to make his way past the blue line. He does so, but he's bumped off of that puck after the quick pass. Tony controls it, working his way into the neutral zone and passes the Valokuitunen, but it is going to be an offsides call as he was bumped off of that puck. In case there is any confusion, there is now 4 minutes remaining here in regulation with 19:01 being on the clock. 4 minutes for regulation here, and then we'll go into overtime. Antonio Manning controls it. Gives it to Zuvi. Down to Anton Lund, back up to the point to Ekin. Shot on, blocked in front there as a potential breakaway opportunity, but a nice job from Papine picking that off, averting any potential danger there for Vesa Pompa. Ekin makes his way past the defender. Stops, gives it up to Zuvi at the point. Shot on, blocked by Timothy, and he has a chance to maybe make a play here. Tried to get that deep, but Papine all over it, hit off of his skate. Papine trying to split the defenders. And he now has it. 1 minute to play here in regulation. Ekin holding it here for Vesa Pompa, gives it to Antonio Manning, down to Anton Lund. Anton couldn't control it as Kermit picks it up. 10 seconds in regulation, and now it is overtime. Next goal wins here for both these two sides. So each team has gotten a point in the standings. The next one will be 2 points. The shot on was blocked in front. The overtime period now underway. Papine will dump this all the way around and will be given chase and found by Zuvi. Pass across. Nobody home, but a penalty called against the Blackjacks. A tripping call going to go against Valokuitunen. So the hero that got the Blackjacks at this point going to have to watch for the next 2 minutes. And Vesa Pompa, a chance to win it here on the power play. Timothy will take over at the faceoff dot. Valokuitunen in the center in the box. Tied up, won by Vesa Pompa. Papine with it at the high left point. Skates in, gives it to Antonio Manning, now to Ekin. Ekin skates over at the corner board, back to Antonio Manning at the point. Space shot on, then they score! Zuvi on the tip! Wins it for Vesa Pompa in overtime! The first shot on net is the game winner, and Vesa Pompa, despite the furious comeback from the Blackjacks, take home the extra point. A 4-3 victory in what was a thriller between these two classic ECL elite organizations. Vesa Pompa wins both. A shutout and an overtime winner. A 4-3 victory for Vesa Pompa. They collect 5 points out of a possible 6. Huge for them as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Like I said, they're a little bit outside, but trying to keep themselves in that hunt, while for the Blackjacks, have to feel like a missed opportunity, just 1 point out of a possible 6. And now, only a few games left for them here in the regular season. Big win there for Vesa Pompa, but hey, give a lot of credit to the Blackjacks. A outstanding comeback for them to even get a point out of the series. Just unfortunately not able to kill off that penalty there from Valokuitunen. Vesa Pompa with the power play goal to win it. What a game What a game between these two sides. What a way to wrap up our coverage here of the ECL Elite Division. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look here at the standings. That last game more than likely not going to be updated just yet, but we will see some of the other results here around the league, as well as more than likely that first result. I'm not sure if they got that first game in or not. We would have to double check and make sure, but this is how things look here after today. The big story, Valokuitunen Esports going up to that #1 spot. They were in 4 to start the day. They played Tohtorit, who was the #1 team coming into today. No longer beat them in both games convincingly. They now hold that #1 spot and have games in hand over Tohtorit and Strikers, and have the same amount of games played as Tunnel Vision with a 5-point advantage. So Valokuitunen Esports well on their way to taking that #1 spot in the ECL Elite Division, more than likely. And another big development on the bottom of that table, as we mentioned, the Blackjacks only able to get 1 point out of today. So that 42 going to go up to a 43. And they do look like they have that game in potentially. Not totally sure, but nevertheless, the Blackjacks now in a position where they're going to have to be careful of the teams behind them. You have Purification that's still in contention. Vesa Pompa, once again, probably not going to find their way into the playoffs, but it's very well possible. We've seen crazier things happen as Blackjacks now in a little bit of a closer race than what they would like. Purification, if anyone happy to see that, it's got to be them, having the least games played of anyone. Was 12 points outside the Blackjacks with a massive amount of games in hand over them. So really 8 and 11 going to be the two teams that you were really looking at here the most. So a tight playoff race here. A lot to go for. And again, 9 through 12, that no man's land, all of them looking to avoid going down to that 13, 14, or 15 spot. Those teams have to play in relegation series at the end of the season to keep their place in Elite. Vesa Pompa getting 5 points, are able to make their way up into the positive side. They knock Roots Gaming down, and they also were able to pass Purification as well in the process. So Vesa Pompa with 2 massive wins, and it's that time of year, folks. It's playoff time. This is when those games are so critical. You see why here with the way that the standings ended up shaking out. So we will take things back into the studio here, as before we sign off, we want to go ahead and tell you we're not done here for this week. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 more broadcasts coming up this week. Tomorrow, we have ECL Pro Division action, as Finnish Roosters will go up against Nova in our first matchup, while in our second matchup, it will be Nose 3 Esports versus HC Lugano Esports. These are some of the better teams that you will find here in the Pro Division. Finnish Roosters currently 2nd in Group 1, Nova currently 7th, while on the other side, you've got HC Lugano currently in 12th, trying to get their way into the positive side of, once again, that no man's land, to not have to play their way into this division next season, versus a No Streets Esports team that's currently 1 point outside of the last playoff spot, as the team ahead of them in Deadly Phantoms currently have games in hand. This is a must-win series here for No Streets Esports. So you have 2 very critical matchups, 3 teams that are currently fighting for playoff positioning. 1945 CEST will be the time for that. Sin and myself will be on the call right here on twitch.tv/SportsGamerGG. I'm telling you guys, you think the Elite Division is fun, the Pro Division right up there with it. 1945 CEST. You're not going to want to miss that. So if you're in a different time zone, make sure you look up the old Google and see what time that is for you. You are not going to miss 1 second of this action. Going to be a lot of fun to see these 2 matchups play out. As that will do it for our coverage here of ECL Elite action. A big thank you to our amazing sponsor in COVID for all of their great and generous support here of our coverage. A big thank you to Rye Guy, who was behind the scenes on production. A big thank you to Sid as well, who unfortunately could not get the power back up and going, but amazing as always. Always so fun to call with him. He will be back here with us tomorrow for Pro Division action. For myself, Brandon B. Major Bigsby, for Sin, and everyone at SportsGamer GG, thank you all for watching. We will see you right back here tomorrow for ECL Pro Division action. Thanks for tuning in and have a great night, everyone.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.